Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Neglected Naruto is a mortal wanderer fairy tale. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Snapers and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. That was unexpected. I own nothing. The saying of live life to the fullest was a hypocritical one. Yes, it means to not hold back and have no regrets, but it also holds you down. Say for example, one wanted to be the Hokage. He didn't want regrets, so he became it. And suddenly, instead of living, the entire world was weighing him down, having to constantly fix a broken world. That's why Naruto Uzumaki, hero of the 4th Shinobi War, container of the great demon Fox Kyuubi, and self-proclaimed badass was now nothing but a hermit, walking around and doing what looked like absolutely nothing with his life. In his opinion, he hasn't lived at all as a ninja of Konoha, or the hero the entire elemental nation needed. Everywhere he went as a child was clouded by other influences. The constant watch of his grandfather Hiruzen, the 3rd Hokage, kept him sheltered and immature, and his entire ninja career was dictated by things like become Hokage, or bring Sasuke back, or even the now dead make Sakura fall in love with me. He never truly realized how free his time with Jiraiya was, walking around with a person who cared for him, learning how to become a true man. He only wished he didn't take it for granted, that he savored every minute he had with that old pervert, because before he knew it, he was gone, along with any form of childhood innocence Naruto Uzumaki had left. He was a man in the middle of a world being torn inside out, people who couldn't understand, armies fighting pointless battles. He went from idiot in orange to a hero of war, a symbol of hope and freedom, an epitome of power, and with his entire teenage life centered around Akatsuki, he never had a chance to live. And after the war, he was trained in becoming the Hokage, then actually became the Hokage. A so-called dream come true. He achieved everything he ever wanted, he lived life to the fullest. It was years later that he realized he hadn't lived at all. So the 7th Hokage of the Leaf, the Peacemaker as so many called him, gave the office down to Konohamaru, and walked away from everything. Everyone searched for him, but nobody would find him, because he was out trying to live, and he didn't want anybody to stop that. Hey asshole! Come back! Waka yelled. His morning was now ruined by some guy who ruined his precious work. His art. He left it outside his house to dry quickly, having to deliver it to a noble the next day, and some person just walked up and kicked dust into it as he passed. The figure kept walking, so Waka chased after. He got up behind the hooded man and grabbed his shoulder. Look man, he said as the figure stopped, you messed up my stuff. The man turned around and pulled off his hood. Waka had his vision filled by the vivid red of the man's hair. He barely managed to tear his eyes off the head to look into his face, smooth with strange marks on his cheeks, with very unique violet eyes. What? The man asked with a smooth voice, his eyes analyzing even the littlest crevices in Waka's soul. Waka gulped. You have messed up my painting. The man looked over behind Waka to the painting. He pursed his lips at the speckles of dirt on the bottom third of the picture. My apologies, he said. If you want my opinion, I think it looks better like that. He reached into a pouch on his hip and pulled out a bag. But here you go. He gave Waka the bag. Waka opened the bag in confusion, before stopping cold. What? The amount of money in this. The man put his hand on Waka's shoulder. Tell me son, what is your name? Waka looked at the taller man a bit dangerously. Son? We look around the same age. The young artist claimed. The man chuckled and muttered an apology. Waka, the artist said, my name is Waka, Naruto. The man replied, only to make Waka raise his eyebrow. Naruto? He asked, after the old war hero, old? Naruto said confused, the war wasn't that long ago. Is 70 years not that long for you? Because my grandfather who fought in it definitely doesn't jump around like he used to. If that's the case then yes. Naruto said unconvincingly, before he noticed the look Waka was giving him. Actually I was named after a character in a book. Since I am the Uzumaki Naruto you know of. Waka snorted, you look 20, not someone in his 80s. Naruto shrugged, I age well. Well I know for a fact that Uzumaki Naruto wasn't a tomato head like you. He was blonde. If my mom is beautiful, and I look like her, that makes me handsome right? And you've got really pretty hair, I bet that would have looked good on me too. Naruto laughed softly, it's camouflage so nobody recognizes me, he said quietly. You know my mom used to hate her red hair. I don't know why, it's beautiful. He looked off into the distance. Well kid, I have to go. Thanks for the chat. Without looking back Naruto walked away. Uzumaki Naruto my ass. Waka muttered, I could smell the sake on that freak. He didn't believe a single word you said. Naruto shrugged, it doesn't matter. It's tough to believe I'm the great hero. He could hear Kurama, the Kyuubi, snort in his mind, great my tails. You know? Naruto started quietly after a few minutes of silence. Maybe we should go back and see the Toads, see how Gamakichi is handling things over there. The young Toad had become the chief of the Toad clan about a decade earlier. The party was absolutely wild from what the redhead remembered. There is nothing better to do. We've seen all the shit this place has to offer, and nobody uses chakra anymore to fight. That's because the need for chakra has ended. Who is there to fight? Each other? Because unless there's a civil war, it's not happening with the elemental nations being one country. You did good job. Kurama referred to his previous appointment as Hokage. A very good job. Naruto sighed at how long ago that was, and to think Konohamaru actually dissolved the shinobi system, that villages has no need to be hidden anymore. You sound like you don't like that. A little tired of peace? Naruto rolled his eyes. You can read my thoughts. You know it's just my ninja side speaking. He suddenly looked thoughtful. Maybe we should visit the city of Leaf. The girls were really nice before we left. Kurama chuckled, channeling the inner pervert you godfather so gratefully bestowed onto you. Naruto smirked. I like to say that me and Ero-senin are educated entrepreneurs of the female gender that enjoys all the advantages a fine female has to offer. Right, Kurama said dryly. You know what? Let's go to the Naruto suddenly doubled over. What? He said weakly as he felt something just on him. Get into Bija mode. Kurama yelled. Everything felt dizzy, huh? Naruto moaned as the world started to spin in Celsius. Bija mode. The fox roared. Naruto felt the warmth of Kurama's chakra as he entered Bija mode, before his world was engulfed in blackness. Naruto groaned as he rubbed his head, his consciousness finally returning. He rubbed his tired violet eyes before sitting up. He was in black? Purple? The entire room he was in was pitch black, not black as in darkness and no light to see, but the color black. A deep black that seemed to go for miles. Just looking down looked like he was floating in space but with not a single star to give hope. Beauty Queen is awake, huh? He looked up to see Kurama. The fox was physically there. This isn't your mind, Kurama said, answering his unsung question. Naruto shakily got to his feet. What are you doing? The fox was holding something, a purple circle of some kind. Naruto could tell the fox was trying to hide his strain, and he could see the hole slowly closing by micrometers. Hey Naruto. Kurama said a bit too gently, you know Kamui? Naruto nodded. You know I do. Kakashi and Obito's technique was one of the most craziest things ever. Kamui is dimensional travel. Naruto caught the gist. Whoa. Nobody uses chakra anymore. There is no way someone can even have a Kamui to send us to another dimension. We weren't sent from our world. Someone is pulling us from theirs. What? Kurama gritted his sharp teeth as the purple circle closed even more. Look, we can't go back. We are in basically interdimensional limbo. Once this portal closes, this place disappears along with us. Then let's go. We can go to this new place. A new adventure. Maybe the fights we've been missing. I'm sorry, Kurama said suddenly. Huh? Kurama's arms trembled under strain. If I let this thing go, it will close in an instant. The minute I held this while you were sleeping, it was over for me. Naruto felt his blood chill, and oh. No. Please no. He felt tears prick his eyes. You serious? He asked sadly. Kurama roared. My host does not cry. We are stronger than that. For 86 years you have been the bitch of some prophecy or issue. Now you shall live free. Go away and live life as Naruto Uzumaki. Not the hero or Hokage. Naruto wiped his tears and nodded. Look, kid. For almost 9 decades I have been with you. And I have never loved a person as much as you. You are my brother. I may have hated you once, but I shall never let harm befall my kin. The fox smirked. I must keep my underlings safe. Underlings? Naruto snorted. You giant, arrogant, bastard of a fucking fox. You are the biggest asshole in the world. He trembled, and I love it. You fucking fantastic giant bastard fox, the greatest friend I will ever have ever. Kurama felt his arms give way, his tails now holding the portal. Naruto, I want you to live. Try to find happiness that this world couldn't give to you. I'll give you my chakra, go blow some shit up for me, alright? He slowly raised his fist towards the boy. Naruto shakily bumped fists with him. Their emotions and thoughts being conveyed to each other. Just like their first time doing it, both of them shared a little laugh at each other's thoughts. Naruto looked at his best friend longingly, before closing his eyes and jumping into the purple hole. Oh crap, that is not what I meant to happen. Naruto stirred at the voice. He could feel his body go to work to fix the burns and broken burns it sustained, and the fresh feel of the air as his numb body slowly regained feeling. He sighed as he realized he was alive. The ride was not smooth, and his body had been pushed to its limits. Are you alright? A male voice asked. Naruto wanted nothing more than to just ignore the man and go to sleep, but he fought the laziness bestowed upon him by Kakashi and sat up, looking at the man in front of him. He reminded Naruto a bit like both Sasuke and Sai at the same time. He had black hair that had a single strand falling to his nose, revealing dark black eyes. His face was handsome and he stood with not confidence, but power. He had on robes with a white towel-like thing tied around his waist, a pretty circular necklace wrapped around his neck. His expression is what reminded the Uzumaki of his old teammates. Uncaring, serious, pained. The look of someone who has lived through dark times, someone who has felt pain. Naruto gave the man a small wave. Hello there, he said with mock joviality. By any chance were you the one who did whatever you just did to me? The man swallowed and nodded. Yes, he started slowly. I am the one who pulled you from wherever you came from, though I promise you it is an accident. I did not mean for a person to be dragged through here. And what did you mean to be dragged? Naruto asked. I was looking to pull something out of the dimension of Idolas into here. I think I might have used too much power. Naruto nodded and hopped onto his feet. I think you used a lot more power, because I have no idea what Idolos is. Naruto looked around. Every tree and piece of life in the surrounding area was dead. And no doubt it was the man who caused it. Definitely too much power. Oh. The man seemed shocked. I just looked for the strongest power source. I didn't know it would pull a person from another dimension into Earthland. So this place is called Earthland then? Naruto asked, which he got a nod to. Well, cool. He chuckled at the man's dumbfounded expression. My name is Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. I'm from a place called the Elemental Nations. He extended his hand, and hoped that handshakes were used here. The man took his hand and shook. My name is Zeref. It's a pleasure to meet you, Naruto. Naruto looked at the drink in front of him. He hasn't seen much. But at least a pub is still a pub no matter where you are. Unfortunately, it seemed like sake wasn't as popular in Earthland, not that he couldn't drink other stuff. He just liked how smooth sake felt down his throat, unlike the hard alcohol Zeref ordered him. Apparently they wrote in different languages. They spoke the same language, but wrote in another one. Naruto didn't even try to comprehend how that worked, so just told the bartender to give him whatever Zeref had. He downed the drink, before taking a moment to think over the taste. Good choice, see. You have a taste in drink. Zeref asked him to not say his name in public. Naruto guessed he was probably a criminal, or a killer. But he honestly didn't care. He was done being a hero, not that he was going to be a villain. He just wanted to be a simple, unbothered shade of gray. Zeref took a slow sip of his drink. I don't drink often, he said quietly. Naruto stared at his drink as it was refilled. Well, you will soon with me around. He had picked up quite the taste for alcohol during his years traveling. He personally blamed both Jiraiya and Tsunade for that. Zeref looked at him. And why would you be around me? He was given a dry look. You dragged me into this unknown dimension. I am now your responsibility. Besides, he shrugged, you look like you have no friends. I know what it likes to be alone. It was tough before he became a ninja, when he didn't even have Kurama to be with him. And who says I want company? Naruto smiled slightly. You're not saying it. But I'm feeling it. It's a trick I have from my land. Zeref sighed and stared at the liquid in his cup. I am dangerous. He turned and felt a little nervous at the smirk on Naruto's face. Oh man, the redhead said, just wait till you see me. Dangerous doesn't even begin to describe it. Get him! General Han shouted to his men. Today is the day the Black Wizard Zeref finally dies. His men roared in agreement as they rushed the dark-haired man. Zeref took a few seconds to comprehend the sudden appearance of the royal army. He felt his black magic spike and his control start to falter. But before he could lose control and kill everything in a half-mile radius, a hand was placed on his shoulder. Zeref took a deep breath and nodded to the cloaked figure behind him, who jumped off seconds later. The Black Wizard growled at the men approaching him. Death predation. His eyes glowed red for a moment, as wave of dark magic lunged from his body, sending a large group of attacking soldiers flying back. They were dead before they hit the ground. Zeref frowned at the bodies around him. He was honestly trying to tone it down enough so at least some of them would have lived. He looked up to see the army falter a moment at such a large amount killed. Honestly, if they wanted to kill him, at least try it with magic. 500 idiots with swords rushing at a more ranged magician was stupid, especially with how strong he was. Han rose his sword. Do not falter. Do not give him an advantage. Fight. Fight for the people of Earthland. He felt someone tap his shoulders and quickly turned around. He was met by a grinning redhead. You know, I knew a man named Han once ago. He looked up to the sky wistfully. Never got to know him, but we were bijou buddies. He looked back into the general's eyes. I'm getting distracted, aren't I? Who are you? Han cried. Naruto's eyes suddenly turned a blood red, his left eye becoming a shuriken that started to spin. Leave, he commanded. It's pointless. He jumped away afterwards. Han blinked and turned around. Retreat. Out. Surprise attack is ruined. Retreat. The men took no time in turning around and bounding away from the Black Wizard. Zeref smirked as Naruto appeared next to him. What was that? Han has never retreated ever. Naruto had a look of discomfort as he rubbed his eyes. Oh god, I hate how using the Sharingan feels. It's so wrong. Most likely because he was part of the Senju's side of the big prophecy. His body was with the sage's physical, not the mental. So the Sharingan? Zeref said, you have a lot of tricks I haven't discovered yet, and it's been 10 years. Naruto shrugged. I hate using it, but it has its advantages. He looked around with his now violet eyes, taking in the world regularly. What I used is called Kodomatsu. Screw it, the name is too long. Basically mind control, but it takes a long time to recharge. Zeref looked at Naruto, a bit of emotion showing on his face. You serious? He asked in disbelief. Mind control? He received a smug nod from the redhead. So Zeref started, what if you have been hypnotizing me for the last decade? Mentally forcing me to be your friend. So you admit it? We're friends. Naruto yelled in triumph. Face it, Z. You can't win this argument anymore. Zeref sighed. Oh, why do I have to be stuck with the only other immortal person on the planet? He asked in false sadness. Oh wait. You're not from this planet. I just happened to fish the one immortal guy out of millions of dimensions. You enjoy the company. The Black Wizard shrugged. Maybe we should lay low for a while, No doubt you're going to be wanted now since we left people alive this time. Naruto nodded. We should. Also good job on the restraint, you almost kept those people alive. Zeref looked down in sadness. Still killed them though. You're trying. The thought is what counts. Next time they'll all be knocked out. Thanks. Zeref told his only friend. Thank you. The Red Devil. Real name unknown. Male. Age looks to be in his early 20s. Might be older as case is with Zeref. Looks his defining feature is his hair that is a very bright shade of red. His eyes are violet, and he has 3 marks on each of his cheeks. His height is estimated 5 feet 10 inches to 6 feet 0 inches. A lean build. Magic he has shown superhuman speed and strength, along with what seems like teleportation. He mostly uses his fists from what eyewitness accounts has seen, and possess advanced fighting styles and reflexes. Affiliations he has never been seen without Zeref for the last decade. They are considered partners and only communicate with each other. If one is somewhere then the other is definitely around. Rank SS, flee on sight. Naruto said disappointed as he read his wanted report. I'm not an SSS like you. He had hidden his powers very well since he had arrived at Earthland. He knew he only got the rank because of his affiliation with Zeref. Does it matter? Zeref asked. I mean, you are the only SS class wizard and I'm the only SSS class. You know, Naruto suddenly said, back in my home, the Elemental Nations, my dad was the first person to receive the SS rank, along with the orders of flee on sight. I don't know why I'm complaining. Because you're a bum. Naruto shrugged. You aren't completely wrong. 200 years later, you have no idea how good it is to finally have a drink again. You're an alcoholic. Naruto shrugged at Zeref's words. It was true. He was an alcoholic. He didn't think it was bad, he just enjoyed drinking. And when you had to drink so much liquor to actually get drunk, as was the case with Naruto's healing factor, you pick up some need for drinks. They had just spent a few years traveling the land of Desierto, which did not have much in the terms of good food and drink at all. So when they finally came back, Naruto decided to indulge himself in all the specialties Fiore had to offer. Well, at least all the specialties Hargent Town had to offer. We should come back here. Naruto said. I've enjoyed myself. You enjoyed the woman. Zeref said dryly. I honestly wish I could castrate your godfather for making you like this. I don't think I can handle your perverted tendencies for any longer. I'm sure many people have tried to do that to Eros-no. Naruto bumped into a girl and knocked her down. Zeref stopped and waited as Naruto helped the girl up. Sorry about that. Naruto said sheepishly. I didn't mean to knock you over. It's alright. The girl said cheerfully. Accidents happen. Naruto nodded gratefully. Thanks for forgiving me. He walked over to Zeref and they started to leave Hargen. One thing that practically nobody knew about the most deadly mage of all time was that he enjoyed baths very much. He liked baths just as much as Naruto liked alcohol or ramen. It was a special ritual for him. It calmed the raging emotions that has killed so many innocent lives. So while Zeref was having his own little personal time, Naruto was a few kilometers away, sitting down in the midst of the forest outside of the town of Magnolia. He was currently pulling in both nature chakra and ether nano, pure magic in the atmosphere, into his body. If Kurama was with him he could have helped shape the magic reserves being formed in his body, but the fox was gone. So Naruto had to do it himself. He got the idea about 100 years ago, and had been slowly forming and enlarging his own reservoir of magic. Of course there was no need to use it to launch fireballs or create trees, he could do it in a much more effective scale with chakra. But Era? Naruto couldn't wait to learn that. He had his own bootleg version of flying using wind release, but it was rather violent and unpredictable, and the idea of using a lacrima to communicate with people no matter where they are. If only the Fourth Shinobi War had such inventions, maybe it wouldn't have been so deadly. He felt his power bolster as he entered Sage Mode, his body being linked with all the nature around him. He suddenly frowned as a large portion of the forest was robbed of its life. Zeref. He felt another presence approach his friend, a light, gentle, but refined power. He got up and started to make his way over to his friend. He didn't want him to accidentally kill anyone. He decided to not book his way all the way over there, or use the invisible Horatian marker that was tattooed onto Zeref's lower back. A very long story that wasn't inappropriate in any ways. Zeref seemed calm enough from what he could sense. Maybe whoever it was could help him be more. Naruto tried to find the word. Ah yes. Human. Whoever it is could help him be more human. Am I interrupting something, Z? Naruto asked slyly as both Zeref and the girl he was talking to span around in shock. I didn't know you liked them. He looked at the girl, trying to judge her age. Young. Zeref glared at him. Be quiet, Naruto. It is not what you think. Naruto ignored that as he laughed at the blush on the girl's face. He suddenly appeared right in front of her, making her scream in shock. Naruto eyed her for a moment. She looked young, with a short height and small body. The girly pink dress didn't help either. Her eyes were a nice green that didn't have any pupils whatsoever, which didn't startle Naruto since he had many experiences with the Hyugas. Her blonde head had a feather piece on it that looked like little wings were covering above her ears. She looked cute. A young adorable cute. Hello? Naruto said pleasantly. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. And that over there is my bestie Zera. F. Fares. Yup, my good pal Fares. Luckily the girl was still a bit startled by him, so she didn't notice his blatant slip-up. After looking at Zirif, Naruto couldn't help but laugh at his own stupidity. Ferez was Zirif backwards. The girl swallowed and smiled at him. Mavis. I am Mavis Vermilion. Mavis, Zirif interrupted, recognized my magic, and has shown a pretty good hold on magical abilities. I was thinking that we should teach her and her friends some tricks. Slowly a shit-eating grin made its way onto Naruto's face. Oh yes. I cannot believe you actually thought of that. He grabbed Mavis' hand and started to shake it. I'm not sure what you did, but my loner friend wants to branch out. Good job. 1 year later. Come on, Precht. Those chains are shit. Naruto yelled to his student, Precht Gabald, who was currently trying to recreate his chakra chains using chain magic. Precht gritted his teeth as he shot out a flurry of chains towards the redhead, who merely blasted them away with some winged chakra. Precht was talented in many forms of magic, but the minute he saw Naruto's chakra chains being used on a bear, he was awestruck, and has been working to create them from scratch. Of course he was learning other forms of magic, but the chain magic took priority for him. You know what? Naruto said, I'm tired of your shitty chains, get ready. He rushed towards Precht, and before the younger man could react, Naruto had punched him in the face, sending him flying. Zirif sighed as he heard Naruto's insane laugh as Precht slowly got up. Sometimes I'm worried for the boy, being trained by the psychopath. He looked back down to the book in his hands he was currently writing. Mavis nodded idly as she shakily stood on a small pond. Naruto had told her the basics of water walking, and tasked her to find out how to do it. The past week had been full of splashes and fails, but it looked like she was getting used to it. Where are the other 3? Zirif asked as he closed his book, tired with writing. I think they are OH. Mavis waved her arms around desperately to keep her balance, which she did. They are still sleeping. Naruto really gave it to them last night. Lazy buggers. Zirif muttered. Mavis hastily jumped off the pond and wiped a bead of sweat off her face. Blame Naruto, not them. He's an animal during a fight. Right as she said that, Precht went flying overhead and into a tree. He fell to the ground knocked out. A shame. Naruto said as he walked up to the duo. He almost got a good hit on me. You're really hard on him. Mavis noted as he eyed her unconscious friend. Naruto shrugged. He wanted to be stronger. His fault. He cracked his knuckles. Anyways, little pixie. You should get ready. Mavis had a look of fear in her eyes. I don't know what I did. But it was Yuri, I swear. You're not in trouble. Zirif chuckled. Me and Naruto decided that you are the one. The one? Naruto placed a hand on his friend's shoulder. Me and Ferez created 3 very special and powerful spells together. We have decided that you are the one who will inherit them. Mavis' eyes widened. What? What are they? Zirif smiled. We call them the fairy spells. It is the end. Zirif said plainly. Excuse me? Zaira asked, confused. The end of what? Naruto answered her question. The end of us training you. The entire group's eyes widened at their teacher's proclamation. You can't. Precht yelled. We still have so much to learn. Naruto looked up into the sky. We taught you all you need to know. Now you must grow on your own. Without us to guide you. Why? Mavis asked, distraught. As you probably found out a long time ago, mostly because of Naruto's stupidity. Naruto sheepishly rubbed the back of his neck at Zirif's words. I am the Black Wizard Zirif, and Naruto is the Red Devil. He took note that no one seemed surprised by the revelation. We appreciate it. Naruto said that you didn't freak out for so long after you found out our identities. Precht pursed his lips. How long did you know? That we knew who you were. Naruto smiled at his student. Ever since you and Mavis went and actually looked at Zirif's books. He does write his name in big letters on the cover. The duo looked a bit embarrassed. It had been a year since they looked at the books. We don't care. Zaira stated loudly. We don't care that you are criminals or that Zirif is apparently evil. You're not. We know that. Zirif smiled but ignored her. You have one last task from us. Consider it our final training exercise. He took nods of all the shaky nods the students gave him. Go to Magnolia, take out the guild Blue Skull, and find the Tenrij that has linked all of you together. Then try to find happiness. Live together as a family. A guild. What about you? Mavis asked. Naruto looked at his friend. We shall go and try to fix some things. We may see you again, we may not. But please don't try to find us. It was a few weeks later, on a distant island somewhere, that Naruto came with news. Blue Skull had been defeated and a new guild, Fairy Tail, had been built on its ashes. They did good. Zirif said as he read the paper, the front page having a picture of their old students smiling. Now it's your turn to change things. Naruto said. Zirif nodded stiffly. Are you sure that is the case? Yes. When I was learning to control my bijou abilities, I had to confront my dark side. Everybody has one, but the strongest and most conflicted are separate from their dark emotions. I know it is the case with you. So you help me enter my mind, then what? Naruto looked into the sea. I cannot tell you what to do when you meet your dark emotions. You must find the answer yourself. Just remember that it isn't another sentiment being inside of you at ISU. Naruto really hoped Zirif would get the hint that he needed to accept his evil, not try to destroy it. I'm ready. Naruto placed a hand on Zirif's hat. Good luck. I believe in you. Mom, please. No, Dad. I'm not a monster, I'm not. Ziraf's eyes snapped open, red as blood. Shit! Naruto yelled. Ziraf must not have understood, he must have tried to destroy it. Z! Calm down! Calm do. Ziraf blasted Naruto with a concentrated blast of death magic, piercing him right in the upper right of his chest. The redhead fell to his knees as his body was slowly being destroyed by the black magic. The former Hokage lost his balance and fell into the raging sea. Ziraf slowly opened his eyes, his head aching. Damn it, that did not go well. He sat up. Naruto? He got no answer. Ziraf stood up slowly and looked around the island they were on. The small outlet of land was completely dead, the few trees and nature a darkened black. Oh no, he looked around desperately. Naruto! Hey! His voice merely echoed in the sky, not a single ear to hear it. He stepped in a puddle and looked down, only for his eyes to widen. Blood? Ziraf collapsed into his knees. Oh no 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 no. Seconds later, in a blast of power, the island didn't even exist anymore. Naruto groaned at the ache in his chest. His body becoming conscious to his pain. Well, he said in slight discomfort, this does not feel very good. He slowly opened his eyes and looked around. He was in a white room, with a giant windowed wall with what looked like people on the other side of it, and a few chairs and tables around. He looked to his right to see himself hooked up to N4 drip. He slowly pulled the needles out of his wrists and sat up. He tried to stretch, but the pain in his chest stopped him. He started to channel his chakra into his torso and sighed in relief as it slowly started to heal. You're finally awake, a female voice said. Naruto turned to see a woman with long black hair and black eyes. She looked very attractive with white clothing that accentuated her bust and showed her legs. Naruto smiled slyly. Well, I'm Naruto. Hello there, Miss Altair, she said with a soft smile. Altair Milkovich. Well then, Altair, your smile makes my. He clutched his chest and frowned, surprisingly intact heart race. Altair smirked at him but kept her distance. Please, enough. I find it strange that I am flirting, well, trying to flirt, with the Red Devil. Naruto chuckled. I'm not quite sure why I have that nickname. I don't think I've really killed anyone in Fury. Crippled, yes. Scarred, yes. But killed? That was Ziraf's thing, though your partner did. Naruto got up and attempted to walk over to her, but the wall opened up revealing multiple mages readying attacks. Naruto stopped walking and looked at Altair with his eyebrows raised. A simple precaution. Altair clarified. This room is covered by magic-suppressing runes. You cannot use any magic and neither can I. But these people around us are out of the radius. Just in case you try something. Naruto rolled his eyes. Who needs magic? Suddenly a giant wave of wind knocked all of the mages down except Altair. The woman stared in shock as Naruto walked up to her and extended a hand. Please. You shall need a lot more to hold me down. Now let's sit, and tell the people on the other side of that one-way mirror behind me to come out. Altair regained her composure and took his hand. He walked them over to the few chairs and sat her down, before sitting on a chair across from her. He saw a pitcher of water and poured himself a cup. Can you answer some of my questions? Altair nodded. Of course, she said smoothly, but he could tell she was a bit unnerved by his show of power. So I assume that you helped me heal, so I shall not destroy this place and escape. I shall welcome any hospitality you shall show me and try to repay the debt I owe you for saving me. Naruto took a sip of water and looked deeply into Altair's eyes. Through the reflection he noticed that his hair and eyes had returned to its original blonde and blue. I am a member of the Magic Council. You are currently in our safekeeping. I am sorry about the show of force. It was very stupid to do that to someone who has not shown hostility. Naruto shrugged. It does not matter. Many people have shown me hostility before, and I understand the concern because of my relationship with Ziraf. Speaking of Ziraf, Altair's eyes sparkled at the mention of the Black Wizard. What exactly happened to him? You have been out for a very long time, long before I was born or even my grandmother was born. Naruto looked a bit startled by that fact. While he tried to find the right words. Ziraf is dead. He lied. During his death he lost control of his powers and I got in the way. My body must have shut down to prevent his death magic from destroying my insides. Altair made a subtle glance behind Naruto to where the one-way wall was, probably giving them some sort of signal. So the SS-class Red Devil and the Black Wizard did not fight. Speaking of red, Naruto said, in Altair's eyes he saw his hair turn red and his eyes turn violet. He ran his hand through his hair. My hair is rather long, though I'm surprised it's not down to my waist or even longer. So you're a natural blonde? Altair asked. Naruto nodded. My practically yellow hair and absolutely beautiful blue eyes made me very recognizable, so I decided to take after my mother, who I think looked absolutely amazing. Deep red hair and beautiful violet eyes. Your father must have been lucky, she complimented. Scared shitless, Naruto chuckled, but lucky. He then finished his cup of water. So I have been out for a long time. There has to be a reason that the council would keep a practically dead man in such a nice room for such a long time. Why not kill the deadly criminal? Altair shrugged. I wasn't part of the council that long ago. Obviously, Naruto cut her off. You are way too young and beautiful. Altair rolled her eyes. But I can see why. You are very strong. And you are also the only friend of Ziraf. As she spoke, a blue-haired man walked into the room. He was dressed rather nicely and his defining feature had to be the intricate red tattoo along his right eye. He carried a tray of food and a shirt in his hands. He sat down across from both Naruto and Altair and set the tray of food down. He then threw the shirt to Naruto, who only had pants on. "Here," he said. "I got tired of hiding on the other side of that wall. It doesn't matter when he could sense us anyways. Naruto, this is Seagrain, a fellow council member." Altair introduced. "Pleasure," Naruto said as he pulled the shirt over his head. "Is that a guild stamp?" Seagrain questioned as he eyed the red tattoo on Naruto's arm. Even with the shirt, some of the tattoo was still visible. "For many years people have tried to find out what kind of guild it is. It's not a guild," Naruto said as he picked up a sandwich and took a bit. "If say he swallowed, it's a symbol of my old village's police force, used for identification and all that. I never joined a guild ever, same with Zeref. He honestly forgot about his ANBU tattoo." "That's perfect," Seagrain said as he watched Naruto eat another sandwich. "We've been having this idea involving you that I'd like you to hear. And that is, help the council," Altair said. "We have some missions that are too indirect and unsavory for guilds. We've been wondering if you could help." Naruto nodded. "Some deadly missions that are most likely illegal, and what guilds can't do because of laws." He shrugged. "I guess I can do some of your dirty work, though make it difficult. I like a good challenge." Seagrain stood up. "You may want to return to being blonde. I don't think the rest of the council wants the world to know the Red Devil is working with us." Naruto sighed as his hair and eyes returned to their normal colors. "I like the red." "Ah well." He stood up and took Seagrain's hand. "Tell the rest of your members that the yellow flash," he smiled at the name, "is willing to help until my debt is paid." 1 year later. That is quite the destruction Fairy Tail has caused, Seagrain noted as he sat at his desk and read a reported. "Just charge them." Altair was sitting on a couch and was reading the newest issue of the Sorcerer magazine. "It's not like it's the first time they've destroyed Samo." A body suddenly fell in her lap. She frowned. "Naruto, please stop." Naruto smirked as he sat in her lap. "What?" "I like it here." He turned to Seagrain. "Oh yeah, that dark guild, the Gravity Punks or something, are gone. Literally there was only one strong guy, who still didn't last long." He looked at Altair slyly. "I bet you can last a lot longer." Altair sighed at Naruto's not so discreet flirting. It even borderline sexual harassment in her opinion. Of course her and Seagrain was chosen as his handlers. Naruto had actually specifically asked for her after looking at all the other council members. "I have another mission," Seagrain said before smirking, "but you can take it later if you want a few days with Altair over there." He chuckled at the glare he was receiving. Naruto repositioned himself so he was leaning heavily on Altair's body. "Do you want to go have some fun?" he asked as he absently read the magazine she was holding. He sighed in faux sadness when she hastily shook her head. "Fine, what's the mission? A decade one?" "Ooh," Naruto said in excitement as he got up and walked over to the blue-haired man. "Let me see." Seagrain looked at the paper. The island town of Magtok was once the epitome of takeover magic. He read. "But a ritual gone wrong has and the entire population become controlled by demons. The Navy has been trying to exterminate them for years, but with no avail. The containment of the island is failing and there's a chance that the demons will escape any day now." Naruto looked thoughtful. "Can't they turn back?" "The effects are permanent. The souls of the users have been destroyed, leaving the demons to control their bodies. That is very unpleasant." "I know. So," Naruto started, "you want me to go to a death trap of an island and kill all of its inhabitants?" "Yes." Naruto shrugged. "All right. Thank you, Naruto." The blonde nodded. "I like you, Seagrain." He looked over to the lone female. "I really like you also, Altair. If only you felt the same way." "Stupid and horny?" Altair asked. "I'd rather not feel like that." Naruto laughed as he jumped out of a window. Naruto eyed the naval blockade as he walked over the ocean. His happy manner gone now that he was alone. It was business time. It was night time, so he highly doubted any Navy soldiers would notice him. His black coat with orange flames at the bottom kept him rather incognito in the darkness. He crossed the blockade and started to walk towards the island. He could notice a slight red haze in the atmosphere around the island as he approached. He could feel the maliciousness in the air. How desperately he wasted to just prepare a Baijidama and destroy the entire island without trouble. But most of Kurama's chakra had been used to heal his body from Zeref's black magic, and making a bomb strong enough to kill the demons lurking would most likely make him pass out, then drown. Also, he has always been a bit fascinated with takeover magic, so getting a good look at how it looks would be nice, despite the fact that he had to kill every single living person on the island. He took a large step to exit the water and step on the beach. It seemed nice and quiet on the island. And then a howl of pain from an animal rung through the air, and a malicious roar. Maybe it wasn't so nice after all. Naruto noticed the top of a temple a few kilometers in front of him, so he entered the forest separating them and started walking. After a few minutes he heard a buzzing noise, not a bee. Maybe 100 bees. It was way too loud for it to be a regular insect. Naruto stopped walking, and immediately jumped away to prevent a giant projectile from skewering him. He landed and looked up. What looked like it used to be a human flew around in the air above him. He could faintly make out a faint body of a human, but it was swelled and the legs were unnaturally black and skinny, with 2 silver stingers at the end. The skin color was a bright yellow, and 2 insect wings sprung from the creature's back. Its face had 2 giant red eyes and a frothing mouth, 2 antennas finished off the look. It was a bee-human hybrid. Absolutely disgusting. Hello? Naruto asked tentatively. The creature made a hissing buzzing noise and shot the stingers out of its legs. Naruto jumped aside and stared at it disgusted. That was a failed takeover. Naruto picked up a rock and threw it at the bee. It swerved out of the way and grew more stingers at its feet, firing it again. A rock wall rose to block it, and when it lowered, Naruto was gone. The bee hovered a bit closer to where Naruto was looking around, and it didn't notice Naruto appearing behind it, his eyes turning a sickening red. Amaterasu, he called quietly. Gaining a grin satisfaction at watching the abomination burn in black flames, he decided to leave it burning until even the ashes were gone. He deactivated the Sharingan, and rubbed his eyes at the feeling it left. You know what? He said to himself, maybe I should watch out. He gulped and closed his eyes. A few moments later the veins bulged and his eyes turned a pale white, with a slight blue tint to it. Goddamn, he said as he rubbed the veins around his eyes. I don't even think I have vessels there. The Sharingan felt uncomfortable, but the Byakugan felt like someone was constantly rubbing the corners of his eyes with feathers, unbelievably strange. But it had its advantages as he walked through the forest, being able to see every creature eyeing him without them noticing. His was disgusted at the sights he was seeing. The humans' bodies were slowly morphing into the forms of the demons occupying them, creating human-monster hybrids that looked, in his own opinion, like the Jubi took a shit and Madara gave it life. He looked at the giant temple in front of him with morbid satisfaction. The giant stone structure had statues of many of the demons that must have taken control of the island. He looked at the giant staircase in front of him and slowly started to walk up. The malicious presence started to rise more and more as he got higher up in the pyramid-shaped temple. At the top was a rectangular room with multiple intricate designs on the wall. In the middle was a hole in the wall with all the drawings surrounding it. Bowing and praising, Naruto stopped in the middle of the room, and suddenly turned around, his Rasengan tearing through a wolf demon. His eyes turned red as all the entryway to the room was surrounded by black flames, leaving only him and the demons inside alone. A group of what looked like hyena hybrids rushed towards him. He jumped in the air, earth flow spears. Spikes jutted from the ground and impaled most of the hyenas. He fired a blast of air at the rest, sending them flying into the Amaterasu. He ducked underneath the jaw of a snake before his hands was encased in lighting. Reiki, he felt a deep pain in his leg. Another snake had come from underground and was biting his leg, channeling some sort of narcotic poison into him. He felt more slither around him and restrain him, while another victim. Naruto growled at the voice. It was evil and slimy, much like Orochimaru. Who are you? He yelled. Out of the corner of the room the shadows started to gather together, until it formed a humanoid being. I am the shadow demon. My host has turned into darkness itself. I control this island. Then I have to kill you, Naruto stated plainly as he struggled with his binds. No, you are perfect. A perfect host, Shadow, as Naruto decided to call him, said. For Naruto was losing strength due to the poison. What? Shadow got closer to him. So powerful, a perfect body for one of the demon kings. Demon kings? Shadow gave a malicious chuckle. Every few years the most powerful beings in the demon realm meet together. The snakes started to move, making Naruto face the hole in the wall. And it shall possess you, and we together shall rule this world. That is some cliché stupid shit. You Naruto so desperately felt like sleeping. Generic piece of shit. The shadow grabbed his arm and raised it. Have fun, your soul shall be destroyed. He then shoved Naruto's arm into the hole. The blonde felt something clamp around his wrist, drawing blood. A large magic going somewhere. His blood froze. The demon realm, he could sense it, all the evil malicious beings. He could feel great powers rushing towards him. He felt something enter him. Naruto looked around. Well, this is familiar, he said as he examined the sewer he was in. You're telling me? Naruto jumped at the familiar deep voice. Oh shit! Kurama! The fox eyed him. Yeah, I don't know what is happening. KK Kurama! Naruto yelled as he jumped onto the fox. You fuzzy little bastard! He yelled as he nuzzled into the fox's snout. The fox yelled as his tail wrapped around the blonde and ruthlessly threw him to the ground. Don't just jump on me like that. I'll eat you. You know you won't, you vulpine asshole. The both of them locked eyes, before erupting in laughter. Good to see you, asshole. You too, bitch. That makes sense. No. It doesn't. I am supposed to be possessed by a demon. Not you. Well, Kurama started. Me and my siblings are half god, half demon, and have connections to the mortal world. We have the unique ability to go to all three realms. Well, you never told me you could go dimension hopping. Naruto yelled accusingly. I can't, you blonde bastard. There are many parts of the demon realm, but no alternate dimensions for it. I guess that when me and my siblings were having our annual beat the shit out of every demon we find meet up, which is a great family exercise, I must have been pulled over here since you still have my chakra. Speaking about having my chakra, Naruto glared at the fox. You died. Lost in dimensional limbo. Kurama shrugged his fuzzy shoulders. Before I was completely wiped from existence, I managed to warp myself to the god realm. Then I just spent some time with my father and my siblings. And before you know it, hundreds of years have passed and I find myself back with the same goddamn blonde idiot as before. Why am I still blonde? Naruto yelled to himself, Kurama had way too many stupid blonde jokes for his liking. His hair morphed red and he stared at his reflection in the water below him. There you go. Sexy Uzumaki look. Kurama snorted and looked around. I am not permanently here though. What? There is an energy holding me here. It feels like a part of you, actually. You have a pool of it by you chakra reserves. Oh. Naruto said in realization, this is takeover magic. It's when you let a spirit take over your body to help fight in this dimension. I was unwillingly subjugated to it by some asshole demon. Well, when this magic is over, I go back to the spirit realm. So learn how to do it, so I can visit when I feel like it, and go when things get boring. Things never get boring with me. I spent 86 years with you. Things can get very boring. Better than Mito though. Her entire life was making seals and banging Hashirama. Naruto frowned. I did not need to know that. Shadow laughed as the blonde's hair turned a startling red. It's working. Yes. Dark red chakra started to swirl around the Naruto as it rose him up off the ground. He was encased by a cocoon of dark energy before it shattered in a giant shock wave of energy. Yes. Shadow yelled as he saw 9 tails swishing behind the blonde. Lord Kyubi. It is an honor. I have freed you into the realm of humans. You can do whatever you please. You, the dark ominous voice rang from Naruto's mouth, are a cliché piece of shit. Shadow's eyes widened as a red orb of energy shredded through him, and the demonic power of the Kyubi destroyed his soul. The darkness started to rush away from his body until the only thing left was the dead, elderly body of the village leader. Naruto chuckled darkly. It has been so long, Kurama, now I'm gonna blow some shit up like you said. The now redhead released a torrent of fire, melting the stone and burning the snakes into nothingness. The Amaterasu covering the entranceways started to swirl around the fox figure until he released it. It went flying into the surrounding forests, setting it alight with black fire. Naruto hunched over on all fours and looked to the moon. He then let out an inhuman roar of the Kyubi. He erupted from the top of the staircase, the pure force of the jump causing the structural integrity of the temple to fall. The entire giant structure collapsed. His clawed arm tore through an ape demon like butter, leaving it in 2 pieces. He then swished his tails around heavily. The sea started to become more and more furious, and a hurricane started to spin form at the end of the island. The earth started to shake uncontrollable, making many demons fall from their hiding places. Naruto smirked as the typhoon destroyed behind him. Come out, my prey. He stood up on his 2 feet before clasping his hands together. Mokutan, Amaterasu bloom. The power of the wood release raged as the trees started to violently trash around, before glowing. One by one the trees were caught in black fire as his combination of the 2 great powers of Senju and Uchiha started to mix. He could hear the cry of the demons as they burned, and his smirk only rose as wind started to tear around him. His entire body was propelled in the air by wind chakra. He flipped for a few moments before facing downwards towards the island. He could barely see the navy blockade flee the area over the raging hurricane. He opened his mouth. A deep dark purple orb started to form in front of him. It grew larger and larger until it was larger than Naruto's own body, before it compressed down into a small orb. Naruto's red-slitted eyes widened in glee. Baijidama. In a great blast of light, everything was gone. Naruto slowly moaned in fatigue as he walked across the empty ocean, his entire magic supply gone. He may have went a bit overboard, but he blames Kurama for that. He wanted to show the fox a good time for their reunion, and much like any other party, there was the hangover to deal with. He would have felt bad that he gave in to his more sadistic tendencies when he massacred every single demon in a way that would make Itachi throw up. But he didn't, because they were asshole demons and that shadow thing really pissed him off. He smiled as he saw land over the horizon, and slowly made towards the town on the other side of the water. Oh! Oh my goodness! A female voice yelled. Naruto rubbed his head as he looked at the person who knocked him over. Ow! That hurt. Sorry! A pink-haired man yelled to him. Come on, Lucy! Let's go! Shut up, idiot! The now named Lucy yelled, before turning to Naruto and helping him up. Are you alright, mister? Naruto. He answered, staring intently at the symbol on Natsu's arm. And I'm fine. He could hear guards yelling in the distance. You should go. The guards are coming and I guess you are the one who burned down the town. Lucy laughed sheepishly before running off with the pink-haired man. A few moments later a group of rune knights ran up to him. Excuse me, the lead one asked. Did you see a pink-haired man and a blonde girl come through here? The redhead pointed in the complete opposite direction that the two went, that way. The knights thanked him and ran off. Naruto smirked as he walked away. Fairy Tale Mavis Guild has sure become interesting. He looked back to the burning port. Very interesting. Holy crap! Altair yelled in shock as Naruto appeared in her lap. It's been almost 2 weeks since the Magtog has been destroyed. What happened? Naruto tried to shrug as he laid his head on Altair's lap. Some shit went down, so I leveled the place. He sounded nonchalant as he pointed to a picture in the magazine he picked up. Harjin. I was there when it was destroyed. Even saw the guy who did it. Naruto. Seagrain said a bit seriously. What you did how? From what the Navy had said, the entire island was destroyed from a giant blast of energy, something to rival even Aetherion itself. So Altair said slowly, is the mission complete? Naruto nodded and yawned. It's over, though I could really use a place to sleep. Can I bunk with you, Altair? The female promptly stood up, sending Naruto toppling to the floor. The former blonde grumbled as he rubbed his head. Hey Seagrain? The redhead asked. Yeah? Naruto looked at him without a trace of his usual humor. I consider my debt to be paid. Seagrain stared shocked. I see. Naruto stood up and took out a lacrima from his pocket. You and Altair are my friends though, so if you ever need help just call. He nodded. Naruto went to the window and winked at Altair. Don't worry, Alti. When you're cold and lonely in bed, just call me. I'll be there in a flash. Altair sighed. Just go, Naruto. He waved as he jumped through the window, destroying it, and vanished before he hit the ground. Now what? Naruto shrugged at Kurama's question. He had a few hours with the fox before the takeover spell wore off. And now he found himself contemplating life. He had abandoned Konoha. Despite all his ravings about peace and unity, he was a soldier. He loved to fight and he couldn't express himself without it. That was why he left Konoha behind. He needed action to fuel him. Zeref provided a lot of action for a long time. Trying to help an almost insane person with the deadliest power he has ever seen was exciting. Constantly moving around and fending off soldiers and assassins. Before calming down and helping a group of people fend for themselves, which was still enjoyable. Hanging around doing the council's dirt work was also entertaining. He could imagine Kakashi, Jiraiya, Tsunade, even Obito rolling their graves over the terrible shit he had done, but he enjoyed it. His entire body was fueled on adrenaline. He needed to punch something to operate. In this new world, the world of Earthland, he wasn't going to bring peace. Despite how disgusting it sounded, he kinda wanted conflict. Because all he wanted to do is enjoy himself, have fun without the rules as he lived out his immortal life. And the only way he really enjoyed himself was amidst the explosions and combat. You know what? Kurama said after hearing his host's thoughts. Let's go punch some things. Because I am not having a therapeutic talk like the ones you used to love so much. It wasn't that different from his times in the elemental nations. Walking around exploring new places, trying to find anything to entertain himself. He sighed as he watched a train leave the station at the town he was in. Those contraptions really gained head back in his old land. After the war, when the land of snow really cemented themselves as industrial giants, the use of trains really took the edge out of traveling. Why walk and tire yourself out delivering a message in a few days when you can leisurely take a train and get there in a week? One of the reasons he left. No more edge. Everyone was becoming comfortable and lazy. He walked over to a park bench and sat down. Kurama left a few hours ago, and he needed at least a day to recharge his magic reserves. If he meditated he could probably refill and expand his magic, but he kinda wanted to be alone. He reached into the pocket of his coat and activated a storage seal in it. When he pulled his hand out, a book was in it. Tale of an Utterly Gutsy Shinobi. Naruto's favorite book that he could recite from beginning to end. The closest and last link he had to his old land, to his godfather and his parents. For the umpteenth time he found himself enthralled at the story of the main character named after him but acted like his father, with adventures like Godfather. The man he tried and failed to be, who never abandoned anyone, let alone everyone. After what seemed like hours he looked up with a frown. A giant tornado of air was surrounding the train station. A figure flying by it, Naruto watched, a little jealous of how smooth the man was flying, before shrugging and returning to his book. He wasn't obligated to rush in and help anymore. That was the old, blonde Uzumaki Naruto. He was the older, redhead, Namake's Naruto. Naruto liked how that sounded, so he mentally resolved to use his actual name from now on. There was some sort of warning, that everyone was going to die or something, but Naruto kept reading. He wanted to finish his book, and sadly, he actually doubted he would die. Not arrogance, but a grim reminder that he'll walk the earth until it ends. He closed his book with a plop, a happy smile on his face. He looked at the train station and sighed. He couldn't just read his godfather's prized book and not go help. There was nothing but a bunch of beat-up goons at the station, so Naruto questioned one of them. Lullaby. Oh, how Naruto remembered that. One time during his adventures with Zeref, they ran into a village that was cursed to never sleep again. Zeref was distraught with how the children suffered and how they begged their tired parents to sing them a song, to try and soothe them into sleep. So he created Lullaby. He tried to use as much pure power he had, to make a love song to make the kids sleep, to bring them happiness. And when the song was over the kids smiled and slowly drifted off. Zeref was never happier. It had worked. A few moments later the elation was replaced by shock. He had killed the entire village. Naruto was immune to most of Zeref's magic. The Black Wizard had enchanted most of his coats to repeal his death magic. The only reason Zeref had almost killed him was because he wasn't wearing his repealing clothing. But the blonde had to deafen himself for a day to stop the tone from killing him, his senjutsu picking up the evil in it. It took years for Zeref to recover, and he never truly the same again. So Naruto took the flute and hid it away, hoping nobody would ever find it. But someone did. And Naruto had never felt more obligated in 200 years to do something. As Zeref's only friend, it was his duty to bring down one of his greatest shames, one of his many shames. He paid little mind as he broke the sound barrier, already feeling Lullaby being released. He zipped through a rocky valley, his jumps propelling him as if he was flying. He had to hurry. There were guild masters there, not just of any guilds. The master of Fairy Tail was there, and he owed to Mavis and all the others to protect him. It was the least he could do for abandoning them out of the blue. Makarov Dreyer was not someone Naruto knew, but he was Yuri's son and was chosen by Prek to be guild master, and that alone atoned for his greatness. Naruto was not going to let anyone die from one of Ziref's creations. A giant crater was formed when Naruto landed on the ground. He growled when he saw Lullaby's true form once more. He was the one to defeat it when Ziref first created it, the black wizard being too broken to fight it. Naruto gained a wicked grin as he rose his arm, the Bijamata forming in it. A shame Kurama wasn't there to enjoy the moment. The orb got larger and larger before compressing down. Naruto was about to release it, then the people came. The orb disappeared and the redhead groaned as he walked forward. He knew the pink-haired fire mage. He was a member of Fairy Tail, and that probably meant the other two were also members. He couldn't just blow them up. Well, hello there. Naruto turned to look at a group of mostly old people. He could feel his eyes sting at the look the bald man was giving him. It was very creepy. Hi. Naruto said simply as he looked at Fight. The man in front, a short old man, continued to speak. Those are my guild members. He said proudly, my name's Makarov. Naruto turned to the man in disbelief. Whoa. You're a Dreyer. Yes. The redhead busted out laughing. Yuri gave birth to a midget. He was always so proud of his family's height and look. A midget? Makarov glared at him. I am not a midget. And how do you know my father? You sound like you two were friends. Naruto patted the man's head. Now, I am dying to watch a fight here. He smirked as the Horatian marker he placed on Makarov's head disappeared. His laughter came to a high when Lullaby tried to produce his music, only for the holes in him to mess it up. The guild masters could hear a faint asshole deserves it come from his mouth. When the monster was being thrown around, Naruto turned around, sweeping his coat as he did, and walked away. Are you just leaving? Makarov asked. It's over. Naruto said plainly, before turning back to face the monster. I don't need to fight the beast this time. This time? Ran through the guild masters' minds. Makarov froze. Are you really him? The red hair. His question was confirmed by the wicked grin on the redhead's face. You know who I am. Very smart of you, Makarov Dreyer. I came to clean up a mess my friend made. Turns out I don't have to. He looked intently at Natsu. I really don't have to. Why are you here? Makarov yelled, his magic starting to muster. Hush, young one. Naruto said quietly, I thought Prekt would have taught you to not jump into silly situations. He looked to the sky wistfully. Mavis did that a lot. He muttered. He then walked away, leaving Makarov standing there shocked. Makarov Goldmine started. Who was that? He knew Prekt. It was a ghost. Makarov stated as Lullaby fell on top of the meeting building. A ghost. Naruto frowned as he felt a familiar presence through his senjutsu. It had been a week since the incident with Lullaby, and Naruto has been keeping an eye out for more of Ziref's creations, just in case any more idiots tried to use them. And now he found himself in the most northern corners of the Pregrande Kingdom, the biggest country in all of Earthland. It wasn't necessarily smart to wander the land of the king, but the kingdom was large enough and he was remote enough that he should be fine. He did not feel safe, however. He had a vague idea of what rested in his destination, and the thought made him shiver slightly. He slowly started to climb the mountain in front of him. When he got to the top, his enhanced vision stared at his target. On a mountain by the name of Zania, a small house in the middle of a destroyed village. The entire thing looked ancient and in use for centuries, which it was. This place was once called Diavolia Nisita, the village that the Black Wizard Ziref was born and raised in. A place long forgotten by any map or writing, one of the few places where Ziref could truly find solitude and comfort. The home of his library. The deadliest room in existence. A single shelved room filled with the many volumes of the infamous Black Books of Ziref. Only a few books, including Yendi, were not in his library, but that did not mean it was not dangerous. Many demons on the scale of Deliora were in the library, along with many dark magic spells. He jumped across the valley separating him from the village. Landing in the middle of the destroyed village, he made his way to Ziref's old house and opened the door. I know what you are about to do, and I would not do it. He spoke to the figure inside. A tall man turned around to him and frowned. And what am I about to do, Gildarts Clive? Naruto said, you take 100-year mission and do not understand the gravity of the room behind that wall? Gildarts stepped away from the wall he destroyed. I was tasked to burn all these books to the ground. I don't understand why this is a 100-year mission. Are you the reason? Naruto shook his head. Go. You do not want to trifle with what is in there. I can't. Gildarts said, I can't go back to Fairy Tail saying I abandoned a mission. With that he raised his arms and started to channel his crash magic. Stop! Naruto yelled, but it was too late. Gildarts released a blast of magic, but a force field protected the library. Gildarts raised an eyebrow. That's interesting. Is the barrier what I need to be afraid of? No. Naruto said grimly, it's the Guardian. Guardian? The world started to shake and the entire ceiling was lifted from, revealing a giant black dragon. That is the Guardian of the Black Books of Ziref. Naruto said plainly. Ziref? Gildarts exclaimed in shock. Naruto ignored him and took a step forward. Acnologia, it's been a while. Naruto. The beast said back. Naruto gestured to the Fairy Tail mage. I ask that you do not kill this human. He is of the Fairy Tail Guild, a guild in Ziref's favor. You think I care? Acnologia said gruffly, my debt to Zerif was to protect his black magic from those who wants to steal it. I shall honor it, but you owe me a debt also. You would have never have become a dragon if not for my kindness, Acnologia growled, and I should abandon my obligation to Zerif for you? I shall pay that debt back another day if you survive. Shit. Naruto jumped out of the building that was leveled seconds later. He noticed Gildarts climbing out of the rubble unharmed before the runes on the house slowly started to rebuild it, bringing it back to its original state. The three powerhouses stared at each other, a three-way showdown. Naruto closed his eyes as he activated his takeover magic. Yo! Kurama said as he entered the redhead's body, you Cal, holy shit. He senses the powers facing his host. Good thing you called me. Collect some nature chakra. Naruto said to himself quietly, and get ready for hybrid mode. Got it. Naruto lunged forwards, raising shuriken. He threw two spinning blades of energy at his foes. Acnologia flew in the air to avoid and Gildarts used disassembly magic to split it onto small pieces, which flew past him into the mountains. The fairy tale ace was then surrounded by energy as he rushed the redhead. Crash! Naruto blocked the fist with his arm and was sent flying into air. He growled as Kurama's demonic chakra surrounded his broken limb, healing it in seconds. As he flew, the ninja crossed his fingers and created thousands of shadow clones, who appeared in the sky behind him. Combo attack. Amaterasu rain. The eyes of him and all his clones turned a blood red as the sky started to rain little black flames. Acnologia didn't even wince at the fire landing on him, while Gildarts surrounded himself with crash magic to negate it. The black dragon brought his body back and released a wave of energy from his wings at the redhead. Naruto surrounded himself with wind chakra and flew away, but most of his clones were destroyed by the blast. The remaining clones created Raisengans and rushed Gildarts, who decided to play it safe and keep his distance. The crash magic easily disposed of them as the ace picked up a giant rock and threw it at the dragon. Acnologia got annoyed by the pebble hitting him and flew up high in the sky, before rearing his head back and releasing his apocalypse roar. Naruto's eyes widened at the technique, before they slowly started to morph as his hybrid mode activated. Shinra Tensei! He yelled with his Rinnegan as he redirected the part of the blast heading towards him, which went flying into the distance and leveled a few mountain ranges. He looked to his right to see Gildarts unconscious by him, his crash magic failing to protect him from the blast that hit him. Naruto couldn't let the man die and looked to the dragon in front of him. He created two clones and the three of them started to weave through seals. Tengai Shinsei, aka Madara's giant rock of doom. The black dragon was high enough that he barely had time to turn around before the clouds broke, and he was impacted by a giant meteor. Naruto probably had an hour before the dragon dug himself out, plenty of time to Hiraishin the hell away from the cursed village. That was good. Not long enough, but good. Naruto grunted slightly as he entered a cave and dropped Gildarts, before slumping to the ground himself. Holy shit, the Rinnegan is damn. The Sharingan was very discomforting, the Byakugan felt plain terrible, and the Rinnegan drained him like a sewer. If you want that man to live you better not nap. Naruto turned back to the bleeding man and sighed. Shit. He said as he looked at the man's left side. His arm and leg were beyond repair, and there was a 12-inch piece of stone-piercing torso. The limbs, and probably one of his organs, had to go. The redhead gritted his teeth as he activated the Rinnegan once more. He grabbed Gildart's arm and cut the limb off with wind chakra, before channeling the power of the Azura Path. A robotic arm, which somewhat matched his skin tone, erupted from his stub. He did the same with the leg before performing surgery on his torso. Luckily for Gildarts, the stone pierced cleanly through the appendix. The appendix was literally useless. It was just there to burst and cause issues, so Naruto was sure that Gildarts wouldn't miss it. His hands flickered green as he activated some medical ninjutsu, and went on stabilizing his new limbs and other injuries. When Naruto was certain the man would live, he took a step back and promptly passed out. Kurama smirked to himself. No matter how old he gets, he'll always be a stupid brat. Gildarts groaned as he woke up. What the hell did he drink last night? Who the hell did he sleep with? You shouldn't move so fast. A male voice rung. You'll hurt yourself. Oh no. No way. I did not sleep with a man. He was Gildarts Clive, the sexiest, most charming, greatest man to ever bless the world. There was no way would disgrace the female race by not giving them the proper time and attention. Fuck you. The voice spoke. You think I would bang a hairy old bag of sweat? I saved your life, you monkey. Gildarts opened his eyes and looked to the man with him, the memories of what really happened flooding to him. Oh shit. The ace said, I picked a fight with the Red Devil and the Black Dragon. My stupidity has taken a new high. Naruto pushed a plate of food over to him. Use your right hand, your body isn't used to the left one yet. What? Gildarts raised his left arm. Why is my arm so pale? And what are these? He felt his arm, suddenly getting it. Oh my. Damn. Naruto said with a slight fury, those are the best damn prosthetic that you will ever find ever. You can channel your magic through it, block a fucking cannon with it, you even have a fucking cannon in it. Gildart's eyes widened as his wrists started to spin in circles on command. Whoa. Wait, he said. A cannon? The redhead nodded smugly. Just don't use it in here. It's an energy cannon, it takes a little bit of your energy. but most of it comes from power in the atmosphere and nature. He pointed to his left leg. You also have a thruster in your new leg, won't do much with your weight. But if you fall on your ass and are about to be stabbed, you can get the hell away. Gildarts flexed his new toes appreciatively. Why? He asked seriously, why would the Red Devil, one of the most dangerous men ever, help me? How did you even find me? Naruto chuckled. Don't ever believe government propaganda. I never killed a single person, that was Zeref, who isn't evil. Merely misunderstood with psychological issues. And how did I find you? I have some friends in the council, they told me about you and the mission. And why? Well, I like fairy tale. You said Zeref did too. Gildarts pointed out. He received a nod. A long time ago, me and Zeref ran into a small girl. Her name was Mavis Vermilion. She and her friends wanted to learn magic, and she got on Zeref's good side. So we taught them everything they knew. The final task we gave them was to make a guild where everyone could belong. They did. Gildarts looked awestruck. You helped create fairy tale. That's why the guild immediately was hailed as powerful. The originals were taught by the two strongest men ever. Naruto noted that Gildarts did not say dangerous like all the articles and posters said, you know. He began, I never really showed my true strength. I don't know how I got SS. I'm not saying I'm not SS powerful, but I only ever punched people. And hypnotized, but Gildarts didn't need to know that. The ace shrugged, you just went head to head with the Black Dragon, and somehow managed to escape. That deserves a new rank in itself. Naruto tapped his wrists, and a giant barrel of liquid appeared in front of him. You know what? Let's drink, we deserve it. This is the toad's sake of Mount Maiboku, some of the greatest shit I have ever consumed. Gildarts smiled at the sight of alcohol, to cripples and criminals. Naruto chuckled as he poured a cup. After getting shit-faced drunk together, Naruto and Gildarts actually became pretty good friends. They both loved to drink, both loved women, and both loved to smash shit. And most of all, they both would do anything for their loved ones. So Naruto found himself walking towards Fairy Tail. Gildarts wanted him to join, saying that it would fill all his thirst for battle, and in reality Naruto had become a bit lonely. His lack of magic prevented Kurama from coming for long periods of time. He was a criminal, so visiting Altair and Seagrain were out. Mavis and his other students are dead, and he had no idea where the hell Zeref was. Also, it was the perfect excuse to keep an eye out on E.N.D Naruto's side. Not Yendi, but Natsu Dragneel, surprisingly taught by Igneel, who had fought the identical Yendi a long time ago. And he also saw the fairy tale photo shoot, and he very much enjoyed the females in the guild. He smiled a bit perversely. He couldn't help but feel a bit nostalgic as he entered the Magnolia town. He could remember walking through the Blue Skull-controlled town with his young disciples, eager to learn magic and change the world. As he laid eyes on the guild building, the only thought through his mind was the picture in the newspaper, the last thing he showed Zeref before they were separated. Mavis' dream. The dream of Mavis, Precht, Yuri, Warrod, and Zyra right in front of him. He stopped, and went through the seals on his chest. What coat should he wear? Kurama never gave him the light of day because of how sensitive he had become with his fashion. I mean, he had so many badass coats, he couldn't pull off only one coat like his dad did, since his dad took the term awesome to a new level. White coat with red flames it is. Naruto smiled as he could still smell the lingering scent of his father on his coat. He never felt so confident, so safe in anything other than this. Things just couldn't go wrong with his father with him. Naruto, you called? Yeah. He was about to enter a giant room filled with wizards and witches, that very well might attack him the minute they realize he was an immortal criminal. I hope they get angry. I want to tear someone a new one. Naruto ignored that thought as he pulled the hood of the brown jacket he had on over his head and put on his dad's coat. He took a deep breath and entered the guild he helped create. The first thing he did was knock someone over, not the best start. Oh. Naruto said pleasantly, sorry about knocking you over, and dropping you cake. He didn't really pay her any mind as his eyes were locked onto Natsu Dragneel as he fought a bunch of people. He felt a bit on edge at the sight. Calm down. He's a stupid idiot like your genin days. Not the Yendi you know of. Naruto kept walking, ignoring the growing killing intent behind him. Passing it off as the fight around him, he walked up to the bar and saw a very attractive white-haired girl there. Hi there. Naruto said with his smoothest voice. The girl gave him a friendly smile. I was asked to talk to your guild master Makarov. Really? She said in a cute voice as she wiped a cup. I think he'll be out in a moment. Please watch out for all the idiots fighting. They're a lot more professional on missions. Naruto laughed and sat down on a bar stool and faced the brawl. It gives a nice atmosphere. A bunch of friends duking it out. It kinda reminded him of his rivalry with Sasuke when they were young. I'm glad you do. I'm Mary Jane, by the way, Naruto. He turned and gave her a charming smile. Namikaze Naruto. He knew that she could see her face from under his hood and commended her for not getting flustered. She must have been flirted with many times, and with her looks Naruto didn't doubt it. I'm back. He heard a familiar voice say. Naruto smirked as Makarov entered the main room. That blasted council keeps sending me comply. All of Makarov's gusto went away as his skin lost 5 shades instantly. The mug of beer in his hand lifelessly fell to the floor with a loud bang, drawing the attention of everyone in the guild. He was looking at Naruto, The face was shadowed, but the eyes, the violet eyes. Why you? Makarov spoke in a shaky voice. Naruto pulled off his hood. Hello Makarov, a nice place you have here, he said, looking at the place admirably. The entire place shook. Makarov exploded in power. What are you doing here? Naruto's smirk grew. Enjoying a drink with your pretty barmaid. I was thinking of. He was punched through a wall before he could finish. Fuck. Naruto cried as he stood up shakily. I did not. He took a deep breath. Expect that. He could hear the fox laughing in his mind. You had it coming, asshole. He laughed even harder. Oh my goodness, that was perfect. That shit look on your face was still there as you flew. Shut up, you ugly vulpine. And please heal my broken ribs faster. The fox kept laughing, but Naruto could feel his ribs snap back into place. He groaned as he saw an enlarged Makarov in front of him. The redhead started slowly. Have no idea why the hell you're punching me. You old bastard. He had an irritated look on his face as he cradled a bump on his head. Rain of light. Makarov yelled as he fires multiples beam of concentrated light at the redhead. Naruto growled, ice release, frozen mirrors. The beams of light hit the ice and was redirected into the sky. Naruto looked at the hole he made to see the guild inhabitants start to gather around. Why are you attacking me? Naruto yelled to the master. I will not let you destroy this guild. Makarov yelled in a fury. Master! He heard Mary Jane yell. He just wanted to talk to you. A golden light started to emit from Makarov. Lies. Naruto recognized what he was preparing. He noticed a few people in the crowd gasp also. Fairy law. His own fucking technique. Naruto vanished as he appeared in front of Makarov with his Hiraishin. He placed a finger on his head and all the light went away. What? Makarov said in shock as his fairy law disappeared. Naruto glared at the man. Trying to use my own technique against me. What the hell was Mavis thinking teaching it to you? Mavis? The master asked confused. I am going to beat the shit out of Gildarts for sending me here. Naruto ranted as he stormed away. Fuck that old drunkard. They'll like you, he said. I should have never taken advice from a stupid drunk. Gildarts? E.N. Natsu said. Gildarts sent you, he said excitedly. Naruto stopped and nodded angrily. He wanted me to deliver a message, he said as he pulled out an envelope with from Gildarts printed on it in the ace's crappy handwriting. And look what I get for saying yes. He gestured to the destroyed wall. The entire guild looked at Makarov, who was rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. Oops, are you alright? Mary Jane asked as she handed him another drink. Naruto downed it as he stared at the coat laid down on the table in front of him in sadness. That was my father's coat. It's one of the few things I have left of him. He had one more that his dad wore, but the one Makarov got all dirty was the one he received during the war. Before his dad's zombie body disappeared, Mary Jane shot the door of Makarov's office an angry look. Before patting the redhead's shoulder, I'm sure it will be fine if you wash. Naruto held up the coat, revealing multiple holes in it. She finished lamely. Can Naruto started weakly. Can I have another drink? Stronger this time. Mary Jane nodded apologetically and went off to the bar. As she returned with his drink, Makarov exited his office. He winced at the dirty looks he received from his guild and looked at Naruto. Can you come in my office for a moment? Naruto nodded miserably and the looks got even dirtier. Makarov wanted Naruto to hurry as the redhead slowly trudged over, holding the coat tightly, which didn't help Makarov's case whatsoever. He closed the door as the redhead stepped inside. So you taught my dad? Naruto nodded, and he wasn't a crazy asshole. Yeah, Makarov said slowly, sorry about that. Naruto sighed deeply as he sealed the coat back into his chest. Anyways, I'm sure you read the letter. I saved Gildart's life and he said I should join Fairy Tail, because I specifically remember talking to Mavis one night about creating a home for anyone to be accepted. That's why me and Zeref tasked her to start a guild. Well, we have quite the family, Makarov said. Oh yeah? Naruto had a dirty grin on his face. Oh yeah. Makarov smirked. A fellow connoisseur of women, I presume? Naruto matched the smirk. Oh yeah. I really am. Then you'll love it at Fairy Tail, if you will join. Makarov looked a bit thoughtful. I know you are S-class, but how are the council supposed to know? The reaction will be violent if they find out the Red Devil is alive. Oh, they know. Naruto said as his hair turned blonde. The yellow flash has been doing them some favors. So the rumors of the council having an independent S-class mage is true. By any chance is the stories about mage talk true also? His thoughts were confirmed by the wicked grin on the redhead's face. Oh, that island was completely fucked up, so I destroyed every little speck of it. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed, my ass. Makarov sighed. You like to destroy? I guess you'll fit in. He received a deadpan look. You can't be upset about destruction when you just punched me through a wall. Well, after our little misunderstanding, me and Naruto here worked it out. Makarov looked a little sheepish. Anyways, Mr. Namikaze over here is joining our guild. His proclamation was met with cheers. Now Naruto? Where do you want your stamp to be? Naruto froze. Where should it be? NBU style on his arm? Or seal style on his stomach? Root style tongue? Maybe even Orochimaru Death Hiki? His chest was out. Zeref left a nasty scar. My palm. Naruto said after a minute of silence, so when I bitch slap someone they'll know it was Fairy Tail. That was met by a loud roar of applause. Makarov laughed heartily. You'll really fit it. What color? Orange is the greatest color ever created. Naruto smirked as the tattoo was put on his right palm. He wondered if it would turn any of his jutsu orange. Rushing towards a guard with an orange Rasengan would be the coolest thing ever. Hey Jane. Naruto said as he sat down on a bar stool. Can you get me a drink? Jane? Mira Jane questioned. Most people call me Mira. At that Naruto shrugged. What do you want? Something hard preferably. Good. She chirped, because all we have are hard stuff. Naruto sat idly looking around at his guildmates. He could have sworn he felt a dose of killing intent directed at him, but whenever he turned around it was gone. He noticed a brown-haired girl walking towards him. She sat down next to him with a giant barrel of alcohol and started chugging. Hi. Naruto said plainly as he thanked the waitress who gave him a large cup. The girl wiped her mouth and gave him a somewhat hard look. You said you met Gildarts. Naruto nodded. I did a lot more than meet him. Where is he? Naruto rose his eyebrow. Maybe introductions are in order. Kana. She said. Kana Alberona. Naruto took a sip of his drink. Naruto. It's nice to meet you, Kana Alberona. Or should I say Clive? She froze. How? Naruto shrugged. Same chin, eyebrows, forehead, and ears. Most of you defining features are probably from your mother, but I can see him in you. She looked down. Does he know? Or course not, you've seen how he is. Kana threw the empty barrel to the side as a waitress brought another. When is he coming back? Who knows with that old drunk? Kana sighed. Will you drink? Naruto smirked. I love to drink. I hate to admit it, but I'm a pretty big alcoholic. He blamed Tsunade. She said it helped with the job of Hokage. It really did. The Clive waved her hand and another barrel was brought to her. Here, try this stuff. The door to the guild crashed open. A heavily clothed figure walked in. Naruto threw his empty 12th barrel aside and looked at him as he saw many of the people faint around him. He could feel a foreign magic try to enter his system, sleep magic. Sleep magic, however, was nowhere near as invading as a genjutsu, so he easily expunged it from his system. He smirked as he saw even Makarov get drowsy. Mystigan. The master said, I've come for a mission. The now named Mystigan said. Makarov noticed Naruto fully awake behind him. You're alright? Mystigan turned around at that. It must be hot in that. Naruto observed as he stood up and walked over, extending his hand. Naruto Namikaze, I'm new here. The mage took it. Mystigan. He introduced, by any chance can you tell me how you repealed my sleep magic? It takes some practice, but you can use the magic inside of your body to push out foreign invaders. Good against poisons and magic. Hey Naruto, Makarov said tiredly. How about you go with Mystigan, you might be able to help each other. The redhead shrugged. Alright. He took the poster from Makarov's hand. Let's go. The two walked off. A few seconds later everyone started to stir. What happened? Lucy cried weakly, never experiencing Mystigan before. Mystigan. Urza said angrily. She was trying to set Naruto aflame with her glare and wasn't prepared for the magic. He puts everyone asleep before he comes. Nobody has ever seen his face. I have. A voice rung from the second floor. I once caught him without his hood on. Laxus. Natsu yelled. Fight him. He suddenly stopped and looked around. Where's the new guy? Everyone looked around, surprised that Natsu of all people noticed. He's gone. Makarov said. He went with Mystigan. What? Natsu shouted. Lucy looked confused. He didn't fall asleep. Makarov shrugged. He was wide awake. The red devil, I am in awe. Mystigan said in the exact same monotone. You don't sound like it. He shrugged. I can keep my composure. How about you take that off? Naruto said. We are long away from anybody and I can sense people. You'll be fine. I can't. Mystigan said suddenly. It's a very important secret. Naruto gave him a dry look. I just told you I am the most dangerous criminal in the world bar my best human friend. Who is Zeref? Zeref. He could hear Mystigan's sigh as he took off his head covering. My name is Jalal. I'm from another dimension. Naruto wasn't really shocked of the exact clone of his friend Seagrain. He had already seen enough freaky shit in his life. Interesting. He said. I'm not the only one. Only one? Mystigan asked. Naruto looked into the sky. I'm from another dimension also. I came a few centuries ago. He noticed Jalal's look. I'm immortal. It's not what the stories make it out to be. Pretty shitty actually. Are from Idolas then? Nope. Naruto said, popping the pea. I was pulled here by accident from a very far away dimension by Zeref. Actually in a puff of smoke he was holding his Konoha headband. Everyone used to wear these things, like the one you have. It had been bothering him that Mystigan had a blank forehead protector with an uncanny resemblance to his old world. Wow. Mystigan said, is the base strength level stronger there? Naruto did fight off his sleep magic. It used to be. I kinda brought world peace and everyone stopped fighting, so it was mostly civilians when I left. He stared at his hands. Though when I was younger, oh man, the power there. People like Gildarts or Makarov would have been very powerful there, but some of the people I fought could have been gods here. Examples, Chidi Madara who for some reason had all the abilities, Chidi Obito who could phase through stuff and would have been invincible without Kakashi to stop him, Chidi Orochimaru with his Orochimaru shit, Chidi Kagaya who literally came out of the Jubi's ass, Nagato with his Chidi eyes, and Itachi, because Itachi was absolutely fucking terrifying, and him, but he was a lazy asshole who was out of shape, but still strong as hell. especially with Kurama. Interesting. Anyways, what is the mission? What was that? Naruto smiled deviously at Mystigan's question. That, my friend, was the sexy jutsu, a glorified man-killing technique. He felt satisfaction of the small red he could see in the slit in his teammate's mask. Naruto was a bit surprised the Mystigan didn't get knocked out by the image of Naruto, his blonde, and very sexy, alter ego. Everyone else had been. Naruto grabbed the leader of the Dark Guild he had just defeated with one attack and threw him to his partner, who makes a guild of all men anyways. Who would ever agree to join a giant sausage fest? Mystigan shrugged as tied up the leader with some rope. Not all people are blessed with confidence in front of women, unlike you. Naruto snorted. You think I was always a chick magnet? I used to be shy as hell in front of everyone when I was a kid, but I realized quickly the people who scream the loudest are the one who are heard. Thus the beginning of his orange clothes and loud yelling. He looked over to the Edo-lost citizen slyly. Say, do you have confidence in front of women? Mystigan hoisted the guild master up on his shoulders. Let's go. Sure. But you're not getting out of this. He heard a sigh from Mystigan. I am not talking to you of all people about my love life. Have you ever even been in a relationship in all of your immortal life? 1. But aging kinda killed it. He did not want to talk about the actual girl he did end up falling for. Wait, you said you won't talk to me about your love life. Does that mean you have a love life to talk about? Fine. Mystigan knew he couldn't get out of this. It involves why I joined Fairy Tail. Told you that my dimension Edo-lost is a parallel to Earthland. And the people are too. Yeah, your Seagrain's counterpart. Naruto eyes widened. No, he said in awe, before a smirk rose to his face. Who is it? Who in the guild makes those tight clothes a little too tight? How many girls, or even people, in the guild do you know? Well, I know the name of E. and Natsu. And you in Guildarts? Makarov the blonde stared at his 4 extended fingers. And I think that's it for boys. For girls there is Mira Jane and Kana. I think that's it. I was kinda drunk for 90% of the time I spent there. Which was only a few hours in actuality. Well, she was at the guild. You might not have noticed her. Well, remember my Misty friend, we have to go back eventually. Mystigan held up the poster they had received from Makarov. You see this? There were names printed on it white, about half of them crossed out. We still have about 10 dark guilds left. The easy ones we did first took about a few days. So the tougher ones and even the final S-rank one might take us maybe 2 weeks. Hopefully you'll forget by then. Don't worry. Naruto patted the prince on the shoulder. You'll truly become a man once I become your wingman. I do not want a wingman, I am a prince. A prince who is under 20 pounds of clothing, and puts everyone asleep wherever he goes. It's complicated. Sure, I definitely believe that you refuse to get down because of complications. Mystigan wished nothing more than to be dragged back into his old dimension. Raisin Gan! His chakra sphere dug into his opponent's back and sent him flying into the distance. The redhead then took an impressive back flip before firing a grand fireball towards his ally. Mystigan, using his 3-layered magic, Mirror Water, reflected the fireball towards the unexpecting guild master, whose eyes widened as he was engulfed by the flames. You think you can beat me? Arno, the master of the Dark Guild Law Revolution, cried. The child of Fumus. Dragon Slayer of Smoke. Smoke is a shitty power. Naruto yelled to the man. I mean, really? Smoke. Oh no, I'll die if I smoke a cigarette. How scary. Arno growled. Shut up. Naruto snorted and turned to Mystigan, completely ignoring the fuming. Literally, Guild Master, do you even know how much a cigarette costs these days? His partner shrugged in response. Well, it's way too much for deadly piles of shit. Quiet. Arno roared as he cocked his head back. Smoke dragons roar. An absolutely massive plume of energy and smoke started to rocket towards them. Oh crap. Naruto said quietly as he saw the intensity of the attack. I may have underestimated him. He grabbed Mystigan and the two disappeared in a flash. Arno growled and gestured to his remaining guild members. I want medics on the spot now. When they are done, rally every combat-ready man we got. His men nodded and rushed away to do their tasks. Just wait, I'll show those two that a dark guild does not follow any rules. I will kill them no matter what. Yeah, sorry. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Are you an idiot? Mystigan asked in a calm fury. Naruto almost flinched at the intensity in his voice. Naruto chuckled nervously. Well, maybe it wasn't a smart idea to piss off the Dragon Slayer, though by the time I did notice that smoke was a rather far-fetched power, he was already livid. I mean, what did he really do other than beat his crew up? Mystigan seemingly read his mind. You purposely went and destroyed everything you could find. Started to call him Smokey the Bear, went around with a pipe and started to smoke whoever the hell knows what, then actually make fun of smoking after you just did it. Even I thought you were a hypocritical, arrogant, stupid asshole. Well, I am. Naruto said with a shrug. You kinda described me perfectly, and don't diss the pipe, it was my grandfather's. He smoked it to handle his job, so whatever's in it is probably not legal at all. He frowned at the thought of his old idol taking drugs. And you took it? Naruto held up his hands defensively. Hey. No need to get angry. I only got caught up in the moment. I never smoke. I knew a guy who had an absolutely smoking. Naruto laughed slightly at the joke. Girl who was pregnant, and he smoked like a forest fire. He died before he could even meet his son, who was absolutely awesome. Sure, Asuma was killed by Haiden, but telling Mystigan that completely ruined the message. Now what? The Edo Lost Prince asked as he held up the paper. We had to leave the last guild on our mission. Naruto? Hey Naruto! The blonde was looking off into the distance with an actual serious look on his face. Oh. Nothing, thought I felt something. He did feel something, but it was personal. One of Zeref's books, he could feel its power just faintly. Let's go back to the hotel. Naruto said as he walked away, we crippled the guild, it won't be going anywhere tonight. Mystigan paused at the tone he used, none of his always present amusement was there. He complied and started to follow the redhead. He was a shadow, a fragment of the original, a shadow clone. One of the signature techniques of Naruto Namikaze. It wasn't that the boss, original Naruto, wasn't mature, it was just that he didn't want to show it. But any signs of Zeref's lost magic was not a moment to trifle with. So there he was, a simple shadow clone. Task the complex objective, find whatever was linked to Zeref and try to stop it. And if a single clone wasn't enough, then the boss would send more via the Haration markers he was leaving as he traveled. The boss was smart enough to pack him with nature chakra, the reason he was currently leaving a giant trail of dust as he ran eastwards, kinda towards the island they had destroyed earlier. Hey clone. Let me have a ride. Take over magic with shadow clones? A bit odd, but it very much had its advantages. The clone started to morph into the Kyuubi in all its glory, running across the land on all fours, his true size dwarfed by magic limitations. Though the 12-foot-tall fox with 9 appendages would still scare any sane person, the conscience of the clone lay back in its pseudo-mindscape. Happy to let the fox do the running for a few hours, Naruto eyed the approaching army from a massive tree. HM never realized La Revolution was so stacked. That looks like a lot more people than the ones we beat up. Mystigan was standing tall on a tree branch across from and looked to his sitting friend. That's because we went in for the higher-ups. The guild will dissolve without proper leadership. Maybe Naruto found it hard to say the words. Made a mistake. He grimaced at his own mouth saying that. Well, there is nothing we can do now. Mystigan, despite being frustrated at the arrogant redhead, couldn't afford to be upset. Naruto's violet eyes turned a blood red as his Sharingan span around slowly. I count 100, 100, 110, 113. He whistled softly. Wow, is that even possible? I had no idea that a dark guild could be so big. That's why we are being paid so much, because La Revolution is one of the biggest dark guilds in the country. Maybe even the continent. What dark guilds usually lacked in quantity they made up in quality. But it might be both in this case. 113 members, mostly boys. Simple awe striking. In the worst way possible. Mystigan fingered a stave almost a bit nervously. I know I am S class, and you are SS. But is that enough for maybe 20 to 40 A-class mages? The guild leader who could be possible S-class if he goes rage mode, and at least 70 B, C, or D ranks. All of them attacking at once was not something to underestimate. The blonde licked his lips at the challenge. I think we can take them. We can't kill. Naruto's expression fell. Well damn, he sighed. I miss being a criminal, and it hasn't even been a month. A simple Amaterasu or Bijudama would level the entire army, smoke dragon slayer or not. Even the Madara Rock of Doom would do the job despite the Rinnegan being a bitch to use. To keep them alive mostly? Can't a few accidents happen? I guess a few could happen with a force so large. Naruto may be very confident in his abilities, but Obito, a man of maybe 16 or so at the time, managed to stall his dad, one of the strongest people the redhead knew, long enough for the fox to wreak havoc on Konoha. It was a good example of never underestimate the seemingly weaker man, which he was very guilty of. He wasn't invincible, a bitch to kill, but not kunai-proof. He could easily handle an army of the size in front of him, but not without at least 80% meeting their despise. It has been so long he forgot how to be a good guy. Naruto smirked a bit sourly at the thought. Though there was one technique, Kurama was going to tear him a new one if he ever found out about it. It wasn't how he used it, it was who he used. Naruto sighed at what he was about to do, quietly creating a shadow clone next to him. Hey Misty, there is a clearing a few kilometers back. We'll actually have an advantage in the open, being able to fight them all at once. It sounded strange, but Mystigan knew the redhead had a plan. Naruto looked at his clone sadly as Mystigan went away to set up. Sorry about what I'm about to do. The clone nodded stiffly. Seemingly out of nowhere a crow flew onto the redhead's shoulder. Both its eyes closed. Hey little guy. Naruto said gently. I know I'm always tearing your eyes out and putting new ones in, but please bear with me. The crow rubbed against him affectionately, its eyes opening into a deep red. But I need some of that DNA in your eye. Naruto sensed around for Mystigan, noting his ally to be half a kilometer in front of him. He honestly didn't want anybody to see this. Him killing everything he fought for back in the elemental nations, him being a true villain, him using the Edo Tensei. The impure world resurrection. Basically saying a big fuck you to all the laws of life and death and pulling a soul out of the spirit realm, out of their eternal peace. Normally Naruto would be cursed to the darkest corners hell after he died, if he ever died. But the spirits owed him a few favors, he could afford to use it a few times before being damned for eternity. He nodded to his clone and severed the link between them, the two redheads stumbling slightly from the lost connection. No more memories would be shared between them, but they could still understand each other through being the same person. The clone gave his boss a thumbs up after noticing the expression on his face. The original started to go through hand seals. Tiger. Snake. Dog. Dragon. Naruto felt a cold sweat go down him as he clapped his hands slowly. Before closing his eyes and tilting his head down, the smiling clone was dragged into the ground. Seconds later a coffin emerged in his spot. Naruto felt his breath hitch as the opening fell down. The redhead slowly looked up. Naruto? A smooth voice said, "You look different." "Hi, Itachi." The one man the former Hokage feared. Itachi Uchiha, the man whose body had been shut down by disease, but still managed to be a S-rank ninja by sheer willpower alone. The ultimate patriot who gave everything, even his family, for the village he loved, something Naruto wasn't sure he could ever do. The man who should have been Hokage instead of him, who deserved it more than he ever did. "You summoned me." Naruto slowly nodded. The Uchiha for once didn't have his Sharingan activated, his dark brown eyes blending perfectly with the blackened scara of the Edo Tensei. Otherwise he looked just as he did hundreds of years ago, not a single crack on his pale face from the Edo Tensei, a grim sign that the redhead was rather good at using the forbidden technique. "It's been a while." Naruto tried to explain, "This is a very different place from the elemental nations." "I know." Itachi's eyes turned red, and Naruto internally wondered if the Uchiha was used to seeing only the chakra of things. Sasuke, his children, and even grandchildren have entered the spirit realm. "I must thank you." He's happy. "All of the war veterans and shinobi have entered death, all but one. Him." Naruto smiled sadly at the thought of his old friends. "Immortality," he said with melancholy. "I don't know why that bastard snake wanted it. It's hell, watching everyone you care for die as the world no longer needs you. All of the greatest heroes have had tragic endings. Yours might be to walk the earth until it no longer spins." Naruto let out a dry laugh. "I thought about that. Anyways, I need your help." There was a reason Naruto called Itachi of all people to help him. Yes, he might be heralded as the mass murderer of an entire clan, and one of the deadliest men in the world at a time. No deadly. But Itachi was unbelievably powerful and unbelievably smart. He wouldn't give in to sadistic tendencies and would ruthlessly and efficiently neutralize the opposition, not kill since Naruto asked, and he was a nice guy. The only other person Naruto could think of that could do it, the rookie 9 lived into old age, and would be revived in old age, was his father. The original Yellow Flash could easily teleport around with unimaginable speed and knock out everyone in seconds. But deep down Naruto felt ashamed to show himself to his father, to show what he had become to the biggest idol in his life. Itachi was more than enough. The Uchiha, who seemed to lighten up a bit in death, was currently talking things over with Mystigan, the two having similar personalities. The both of them were quiet, powerful, very responsible, and loved to hide. A perfect match. Naruto sat lazily on a rock as he listened to Itachi effortlessly talk around all of Mystigan's questions on how Naruto exactly summoned him. The Uchiha somehow managing to get the prince to explain how celestial summoning to work and somehow managing to convince the prince that he was kinda like that, despite not knowing what it was a few minutes prior. The redhead's eyes lit up at the sight of the army. He might have looked a bit scared calling Itachi and all, but it was simply a precaution, so he can let it rip with a practically 0% chance of death. "Hello?" Naruto called out with mock joviality as he spotted Arno. "Hey there, Smokey the Bear." Arno and his guild stopped a long ways away. "You!" The master yelled, "You're practically presenting yourselves to be killed." He looked at Itachi. "You are new. He was sleeping with your sister when we were fighting you." Naruto smirked at the Dragon Slayer's fury. "Hey Smokey. You are supposed to prevent forest fires. And here I am burning you like a fire in the middle of the woods. Kill them!" Arno yelled, "Show them that you do not mess with the revolution." The clone frowned at the small blood stains on his clothing. Kurama had to hunt a deer while in control, the redhead resisting to gag from the taste of raw animal in his mouth. He hoped it didn't attract any attention of the animals of Galuna Island, the residue of Zerif's demon coming from here. He looked curiously at the sky, his Sharingan noticing a giant dome of energy above the island. It really does nothing to him, but it might be doing something to the inhabitants of the island. Not that he cared about the inhabitants that much. He didn't mean to sound so heartless, it was just that his mission took priority. They would have a lot more problems if one of the books got loose. His Senjutsu could notice that E.N.D. The clone suddenly sighed. He meant Natsu. The clone could notice Natsu on the island, with what felt like some familiar presences from fairy tale. If all went right then the clone would not run into his fellow guildmates. He didn't care what Natsu was. At the moment he wasn't going to beat any of Zerif's books at his current level, and the clone could tell the one here was a strong one. Naruto twirled around and poked a man in the head, the Juken of the Hyuga clan sending a wave of chakra into the frontal part of his brain, effectively lobotomizing him for the next few hours. The man's expression slowly turned blank as he fell to floor, not unconscious or dead, but shut down from doing anything for the moment. He ignored how terribly weird the Byakugan felt as he poked a man multiple times in the chest to restrict his breathing. The men fell gasping to the ground. He would regain his breathing soon, but would be unconscious by then. With his 359 degrees of vision he noticed Itachi weave through the crowd like water, driving a single needle into a man's neck before pulling it out and continuing on his path of sheer elegance. Putting them in near-death states, It reminded him of Haku. The ice user would have been good here, but the teenage boy was easily defeated by a 12-year-old Naruto. Even with the former blonde using QB powers, the Yuki probably wouldn't be able to fight so many people. A man was about to attack him from behind, but the redhead didn't even turn around as Mystigan's sleep magic took its toll and knocked the attacker out. The Prince of Aedolos used a blanket of sleep magic when the battle started. Almost a third of the army was touched by a small bit before Arno blew it away. The effects were taking its time, but was still taking a few people out. He frowned as the memory of Arno taking out another one of his clones flooded his mind. The reason he didn't create shadow clones was that the Smoke Dragon's Slayer had a lot of wide-ranged attacks, and the clones couldn't take more than one hit. A few if they use Senjutsu, which they aren't. It takes too much time to collect nature chakra without Kurama. Speaking of the fox, he couldn't come since he already came to the world into his clone. The fox could only enter the world every day or two due to the redhead's lackluster skill in magic. Naruto flipped around and reveled in the feeling of his leg digging into the fleshy stomach of an enemy mage. Satisfaction flooded him as he watched the poor man fly into the distance. Right into Arno. You! The Slayer yelled, you have to be the real one. Naruto gave a weak wave. Arno took a deep breath. Smoke Dragon's roar. Naruto went through hand seals and created an earth wall in front of him, which was promptly destroyed, sending him flying back. Deliora the clone's fists clenched at the sight. Hai didn't quite feel emotion on the same level as the boss, but the clone knew the original would be on a whole new level of anger if he was here. Lullaby was a terrible mistake, but it was still created with the best intentions at heart. Such a vile creature was made by Zeref trying to channel his love into one of his creations. Deliora was different. Deliora was made by pure hate. Zeref's will to see someone die, to see many people die. Many people, including the council, did not know how the legendary guild of Pyrexia, the Fever, was destroyed. It was by Zeref, witnessing a member rape and kill an innocent woman, lost control and created a being of pure destruction. The beast in front of the clone was not to be trifled with. It amazed the clone that a mage could even defeat it, let alone lock it away in a shell of ice for who knows how long. The boss and Zeref lost track of the beast a long time ago. This may be why. Just fucking die, Naruto growled as he was engulfed by the roar of the smoke dragon. He coated his lungs with wind chakra to fight off the fumes entering his body. The redhead's objective of not killing anyone was slowly being burned by his anger. The time for an accident was bound to happen any time now. But he never realized how annoying a man who can bend smoke is. One would think a simple blast of wind chakra would knock that guy out of the park, but it was a lot more complicated. Gale Palm. A blast of wind was shot at Arno, who propelled himself into the air with his smoke. The Dragon Slayer fired what he called a poison cloud at the redhead. Naruto naturally moved after hearing the name. Smoke was filled with poisonous chemicals, filled with many unique chemicals, and apparently Arno did his reading as he was using every advantage the seemingly flimsy element could have. As Arno landed, the blonde used the body flicker to appear behind him, bringing his fist into the back of his head. The guild leader flew back into a tree, letting out a pained sound as he did. Take that, you bastard! Naruto really didn't know why he was still insulting his foe. The man was deserving of his respect. But he was still an asshole in the redhead's books. Why? Who the hell knows why? The blonde's eyes turned a sickly red. Amaterasu. The dark guild leader jumped out of the way before he was caught aflame. He smirked as he turned around. Haha. You do know we can eat our element, right? He said, referring to dragon slayers, and you burning down a tree creates a lot of smoke. He stopped. It was Naruto's turn to chuckle. Amaterasu doesn't create smoke. Fine. Arno said. I guess I have to do it myself. With that he pulled out a bomb from his pocket and threw it at the forest. The bomb turned out to be a fire bomb, and the entire forest was engulfed in flames. Shit! Naruto yelled as he formed a grand waterfall out of the moisture in the air, a feat only Tobirama Senju could do other than him. The large torrent of water crashed into the fire, but there was too much by the time it has hit. Zombie Itachi jumped in front of the blonde, fire release. Naruto's fear of the man was perfectly justified as all of the fire was put out just by the pure power of Itachi's affinity, his control willing it to stop. But Arno was already frolicking in the smoke created, eating it like an akimichi would a buffet. Yes, he said slowly, now you die. With that his dragon force activated. And Naruto swore every single curse he learned in his centuries of life. The clone frowned as he watched what was happening. Some jerk who knew Gray, who was apparently his boss fellow guild member, was trying to revive Deliora to defeat it, because his dream was to surpass his master who died freezing Deliora a decade or so earlier. That guy, Lio or something, needed to step back and take his plan into hindsight. He wanted to revive the rampaging demon that defeated his master only to defeat it himself? That defeated the entire purpose of his master's sacrifice and memory. Personally, the small fragment of Naruto's mind thought just leaving the dangerous thing dead was a good idea, because fighting with Deliora, no matter how strong you are, will end up with an entire island destroyed. And they just happen to be on a very destroyable island filled with people. And despite how many antagonistic tendencies the Namikaze has picked up in his long life, letting an island of innocent people die was not going to happen. He sighed as Lion defeated his guild mate. All well, and Natsu, would probably beat him eventually, as is the case a person with the Uzumaki Naruto syndrome that he could sense in the pink-haired man. Just like him, Natsu was a man who would only get stronger in the face of defeat, and somehow beat everyone despite being much weaker than some of his opponents. And he was as dense as a brick, just like old-school Naruto was. The one thing caught the clone's attention much more than Lion or his guildmates. That salty person was rather familiar, and was about to get a shocking surprise. Naruto just managed to pull up his Susanoo rib cage before he was hit by Arno's claw of the smoke dragon. He was impressed as he was sent flying and flipped before landing on the ground seemingly unharmed. The guild master tried to claw Itachi also, but the Uchiha easily brought up his own rib cage to block it, his body slowly becoming surrounded by his reddish Susanoo. The redhead jumped next to his dead companion. Your Susanoo is yellow, Itachi noted. Naruto kept his eyes locked onto Arno. It's the eye combination. Combination? He didn't get an answer as the redhead launched himself towards Arno, whose skin was covered in scaled and was gaining more dragon-like characteristics. Arno's lower body actually turned into smoke as he flew into the air. Naruto stared eyes wide. He was smoke. Smoke. And he was flying smoothly, hovering actually. Naruto suppressed his jealousy of Arno's flying and fired a flurry of Susanoo needles upwards. They all hit Arno but simply passed through as he turned into a fume. Take this. Arno reared his head back as the power of the dragon force coursed through him. Roar of the smoke dragon. Naruto looked over to Mystigan, who was fighting the last 5 guild members, and shot out his Susanoo arm. He grabbed his partner, and pulled him towards him as the sky lit up with Arno's power. In the light of Arno's blast, Naruto could vaguely see red above him. Naruto groaned as his body ached. I am the stupidest person alive. Why oh why did I mess around with him and not kill him outright? Well, I already got him. Naruto lifted his head up to see Itachi standing there, his body showing a few cracks. Mystigan let out a deep breath as he got up, stumbling as he did. What happened? You did something, Itachi. The Uchiha looked into the sky to where Arno used to be. I covered you guys and used my Yata mirror to block the blow. Arno didn't even realize it was blocked before I stabbed him with my sword of Totsuka, a sword that seals its victim into it forever. Arno is gone. Good. Naruto said before looking around, a grim look on his face. Looks like Law Revolution is all gone too. I couldn't cover all of them. Mystigan picked up a few of his staves that fell to the floor. This will be one hell of a story to tell the council. We're gonna be in prison for the rest of our lives. Naruto waved him off as he rubbed his bleeding eyes. It'll be fine. We didn't kill, he shrugged. Well, a few might have fallen from my hand, but Arno basically killed all of them. An angry dragon slayer that went all out. They'll believe that. And the bodies? Naruto looked around hardly. Leave them to the wyverns, he said tightly. Mystigan nodded and looked to the distance. I'm gonna go check the other Law Revolution bases, to see if there is anyone alive to turn in. Both of the shinobi could interpret his message. He needed to be alone. As he left, another crack formed on Itachi's body. My time is going, he stated plainly. Yeah. Hopefully I'll never use this god-forsaken jutsu again. The two walked into the forest, away from the bodies. Naruto, Itachi said, looking at the blonde seriously, how do you have the Sharingan? Sasuke never told you? No. I have no idea what really happened to you, Byakugan and Sharingan. Not to mention the different personality, and knowing Edo Tensei, you've changed. Naruto sat down on a tree stump. Where do I start? Where it all began. Okay. Naruto took a deep breath. Where it all began. Hello, Altair. Zalti turned around and jumped slightly. And Naruto. What a strange place this is. The clone said pleasantly as he watched the barrier around the island break. But the strangest thing here is not the demon inhabitants, it's you. The magic council member here, under ruse and trying to revive one of Zerif's demon. The stiff Altair took her mask off. It's her face straightened. You of all people should know everyone has personal agendas. Obviously, but what's yours? In the second and a half it took Altair to reply, Naruto knew she was going to lie to him. You are the teacher of Lion and the sealer of Deliora was my mother. She left me when I was young and I wanted revenge. Not her agenda, but a truth. Well, Altair, it's kinda cute how you are walking around the answer I want. He chuckled at the surprise on her face. But if you ever try to revive one of my good friend's demons again, he trailed off. You kill me? Altair said quietly. Kill you? Naruto said playfully. Why would I kill such a fine specimen of woman? Naruto smirked. No, I'll take away your magic away. It physically won't be painful. But mentally? He chuckled darkly. I'll make it so you are nothing but a defenseless civilian with an army of enemies. And then, when you are alone and in need for help, I'll be right there not to help, but to watch as you are destroyed without the precious magic you mages love so much. That scared Altair more than anything, because she knew he was not lying in the slightest. By Altair, oh, and you look ravishing today. He winked as he disappeared in a plume of smoke, leaving an utterly terrified Altair standing there. It started after I became Hokage. That lazy-ass Kakashi didn't even keep the job for long. Naruto smiled as he remembered his teacher. I was around 24 or so, maybe 25 or even 23, it's been a while. I took the job and did a damn good job at it. All of the nations had treaty after treaty, until basically all that separated the nations were old teachings. You achieved the peace so many strived for. Itachi said, looking at the redhead with respect. Naruto smiled wistfully. My so-called dream come true, I was Hokage, but for some reason, after all the enchantment of the position left, I never felt so alone. I was an idol, levels above all my fellow Kage. They listened to me because I was always right. I was not one of the 5 Kage. I was like a president with the Kage listening to my words. The blonde stared down. And then me and Kurama, the Kyuubi, realized I had attained immortality. He noticed Itachi's questioning look. During the final battle, me and Sasuke received half of the Rikudo Senin's chakra each, and only half of Kurama, his yang side, was sealed into me. The other half that was in my revived father's body was being passed around, through him, to Zetsu, and then to Obito. And that's when it happened. Obito was the container of the 10 tails, and part of its chakra got onto Kurama's yin half, and they all merged. Yeah. Naruto touched his stomach, where the seal was, the power of the sage, of the Jubi, of the strongest tailed beast. It merged with the natural long lifespan and healing factor of Uzumaki's, making it so my dying cells would always be replaced at the same quantity and quality. So I would never age past my prime, which happened to be between 21 to 24, I'm not quite sure. But when all my friends started to age, I noticed I didn't. Naruto was so grateful that Itachi was actually listening to everything, not just demanding him to talk about the Sharingan. But Itachi started, others started to notice. Not quite, the only 2 who did was Shikamaru and Sasuke, both being amazingly smart. The 2 of them were my advisors, and we managed to convince everyone else that the Kyuubi just improved my longevity and Uzumaki's always look young for a while, which was true. But after a while I was hurting, all of my friends were having children and getting gray hairs, and here I am, same age as everyone else, heralded as godlike. It didn't feel right to settle down when I'll outlive even my grandchildren. So you left. A bit more than that. Naruto smirked. I had to choose a successor, I couldn't leave Konoha alone. I chose Konohamaru, Sarutobi-sama's grandson. Naruto felt nostalgic at the honorific. Nobody used them anymore. I chose him, but he didn't just want it. He said he wouldn't take the job unless he beat me, so me and my advisors made up a plan to look like I lost. Itachi raised an eyebrow. You threw the fight for the next Hokage. The redhead nodded. Yup. He rubbed his fingers together. Yeah, that little bastard thought he was clever. He used the substitution with a log, so I attacked where the log came from. Turns out that was a shadow clone. He came roaring behind me with a Rasengan, my own technique. He was yelling like an idiot. For some reason that always worked. Naruto said thoughtfully. People always just stood there when I came yelling from behind them. It happened a few times during our recent battle. Itachi noted. I have no idea why. I never did that. Same here. I could have easily smashed his face, but I stood there. His smile growing. That little shit hit me like a train, sent me flying. Nobody noticed that my wounds healed in a few seconds, and I was glad for that. I put my fancy coat on, handed him the hat, and said I was going to travel the world and live without restrictions, because I have never really lived without responsibility before. Much like Jiraiya-sama. Yes. He yelled with surprising vigor. Did you know that the old pervert was my godfather? He laughed when Itachi shook his head negative. Well, he was, and he was absolutely fucking amazing. So I traveled like him, trying to keep his legacy. I learned about so many people just like him. I even started writing. Itachi rose an eyebrow. The redhead's grin looked like it would split his face. I first wrote a sequel to Erosenin's first book, The Tale of an Utterly Gutsy Ninja. The sequel to the book, Tale of an Utterly Gutsy Shinobi. Just like how my godfather based it off his adventures, I based it off my own, slightly modified of course. I made the character just like the one in the first book. I always wanted to be like him but never managed to. Must have been a great book. Itachi said interested. I would have loved to read it. He had actually read, and loved, the first book. Naruto gave him one of his old school beaming smiles, before he rubbed the back of his head a bit embarrassed. Nobody else said that. It did shit in reviews. I used a pen name and nobody even came to the signing, just like how nobody came to Jiraiya's. Turns out nobody cared about the ninja life anymore. Hidden villages no longer stayed hidden and different countries soon became different states in one big country. Itachi looked amazed. I traveled everywhere, getting money from the Ika books. I continued. Times never changed for that. The redhead had a dirty grin on his face. I learned all the jutsu I could find. Scared that the art I loved so much was going away so rapidly, I soon realized I was living Orochimaru's dream. Immortal and learning a crap ton of jutsu. Of course there was no world domination. Then what? Itachi questioned. What does a man who wants nothing do? Well, here's the answer to your question after a long time. Naruto's eyes turned red. I went to the final battleground of the war. There was a giant moon-like thing. It was a Chibaku Tensei used to seal black zetsu in it. While I was there I came across something horrible among the rubble. The redhead's face hardened, Madara's body. Itachi's eyes widened. It was there Naruto started, perfectly intact, not a single sign of decay. I opened his eyelids and there they were, an eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Only one? Naruto shrugged. I don't know. But I realized that Zetsu was alive, and was slowly tunneling his way out of his prison, to try and get Madara's eye. So I released him and fought him. While fighting him I realized where the safest place for the eye to be. In your own safekeeping. Naruto smirked. When that plant bastard stabbed me in the eye with a wooden spear, he was laughing like a madman, gloating. In his arrogance, he didn't even notice me take Madara's eye and stick it in my own head. I burned that asshole alive with Amaterasu. And truly ended all threats to the nations. A crow flew its way onto Itachi's shoulder. That's mine, he stated as he lightly petted it. I remembered Kara, which is short for Karasu, was still out there with Shusui's eye, and it had been much longer than a decade, so I called him and he came. I took Shusui's eye and placed it in my other one, and it just happened. I got a Rinnegan from the sages and Jubi's chakra in me and the Sharingan. The Byakugan came after mastering my power, the green of Shusui's Susanoo and the blue of Madara's Susanoo. Green and blue makes yellow, hence Naruto's yellow Susanoo. He's a raven, Itachi said, not seeming shocked by all the dojutsus the redhead had. He was actually Shusui's personal summon. Not a Karasu. Well, Kara here never told me that. He gave the raven a mock glare. Come one, Kara. The bird ruffled his feathers and flew over to his living owner, landing on his shoulder. Kara has 2 Sharingan though, Itachi pointed out. That's how I revived you. You know Sarada, right? Itachi actually smiled at the name, which looked strange on him. My niece, she died and came to the spirit realm also. Well, you know she never unlocked her Sharingan, right? No. Itachi seemed surprised. Naruto grinned. Well, she never did, and luckily Sasuke didn't care that she didn't have it. He loved her more than anything with or without Sharingan. The 2 shinobi smiled at the change in their brother, well on his deathbed. I came to him and Sasuke asked for a favor. Kara looked at Itachi, and its eyes morphed into Sasuke's Manjiku pattern. He wanted you to have his eyes. Yes. Naruto's Sharingan span, he didn't want his Sharingan going to waste, so he gave it to me. I already had a pair, but Kara here went blind for me. Sasuke was more than happy to give his brother's legacy sight, and there you were. A man with no purpose in the world. Naruto stared at the full moon. I played my part. And then I ended up here. And I think, after a few hundred years, that I finally found my role. A purpose in this world. It took him a while to realize it, but after what his clone gave in and all that has been happening to him, he knew. And that is? Naruto told it to him. Itachi gave him a genuine smile as he walked up to the redhead, the cracks among his body increasing. That's a good objective. It describes your values so much. His body started to glow. I'll go tell the others that you are okay. And you're on your way to happiness. Naruto nodded. Thank you, Itachi. I needed this. The Uchiha started to float, no matter how much you change. Naruto Uzumaki or Naruto Namikaze. The name Naruto will always be the name from your godfather's book. And he is not who you want to be, he is you. You describe him perfectly. You might not be a hero, but you are a good man. Naruto felt his eyes almost water as part of his past flew away. I'm still fucking terrified of you. He wiped his eyes. Now where the hell is Mystigan? I need to get drunk. Mystigan looked at him with concern. Are you sure you are not hungover? Naruto snorted. Please, you weren't an alcoholic for hundreds of years without being somewhat tolerant to the hangover afterwards. It didn't matter how overpowered he was or how much of Kurama's chakra or nature energy was in him. A hangover was a hangover. It could feel terrible. It could feel only mildly displeasing. Either way, the redhead wasn't going to let it stop his day. He felt somewhat vindicated now, openly declaring his goal to a man he greatly respects and is terrified of. So today was a new day in the eternal life of Naruto Namikaze. Let's just get back to the guild, Naruto said as he pulled a crumpled-up piece of paper from his pocket, the mission poster. And as we walk, think of some ways to explain to Makarov that we didn't get a single penny from our entire bounty. Mystigan sighed at the thought. I still blame you. What? Naruto yelled. You should be thanking me. I got us out of second-degree murder while I was drunk. Tsunade would be proud. He added the last part to himself quietly. The Prince of Idolos probably heard him, but was respectful enough to not mention it. Still, Mystigan started. To think we were going to be charged for the deaths of over 100 people. That would have been terrible. Naruto rubbed his palm, where his guild stamp was. I would have lost this after my first mission, but all the council wanted was a scapegoat. Someone has to take responsibility. And we are lucky Arno was known as a hothead by many people. It all added up. He then looked at his partner's eyes, plus Seagrain, who I told you is awesome. He has all the fun parts you lack. Mystigan shrugged. I guess. Though I do wonder why we have different names. Does everyone have the same names in Idolos? Mostly, all of the fairy tale members have the same name, though there are some exceptions. And you must be one of them. Mystigan nodded slowly as they walked over to Magnolia. He honestly enjoyed most of the mission, the Law Revolution aside. It has been years since the prince had really had a conversation with anyone, the last one being a young dragon slayer long ago. He felt someone normal, if he had the right to feel normal at all, being a prince from another dimension bent on destroying his people's plots. Of course his friend was a complete asshole of a person, but a friend nonetheless. Oh, and Mystigan? Yes, Naruto? The redhead had a smirk slowly rising on his mouth. When we get back you're showing me the counterpart to your crush. Nope. The hasty answer. Misty. Naruto said plainly, you can't put me to sleep and you know I can kick ass when I try. The last mission not being an accurate sign of that. And I'm not letting you get away unless some crazy ass shit happens. Fine, but everyone else is going asleep. Because I am know his words were lost. They just had their first sights of Magnolia. Fuck. Naruto clenched his trembling fists. Fuck. What? Mystigan couldn't believe his eyes. Naruto tried to take a deep breath, but Mystigan could see his eyes morph red and spin rapidly. Mystigan. Go. Mystigan voiced the only word that seemed to come to his mind. What? Naruto turned to him, and the prince could see a scarred man in his partner. A man who has walked the earth longer than any other human. A man who has seen all the evil of the world. He spoke with such cold precision that Mystigan felt the words etch into his mind. I want you to find every single building with the guild mark of Phantom Lord on it. His rage was practically palpable, and I want you wipe every single sign of that guild out of history. Mystigan nodded slowly. And the main guild? Both of their eyes looked at the fortress. Naruto started to walk towards Magnolia. I will personally see every single man and woman in that fortress suffer. And I'll show everyone why I was called the Red Devil. Mystigan stared as his partner walked towards the town, gaining more speed by the second. He could only imagine how the name would be justified. The devil tearing through everyone. Bathed in the red of his enemy's blood, the prince turned around and disappeared in mist. He had his own job to do. Naruto growled as he saw the weapon Jupiter, which he assumed was the name from the madman screaming in the fortress. He wanted to desperately to fire a Bijumata and wipe everything off the map, but he was different. They will bleed, they will wish for death, but living the rest of their lives locked away in eternal pain was much worse than death. He saw a barrier being formed and gritted his teeth as he turned away. He had to do something first. Porliushia sensed the presence outside of her small home immediately. She frowned at the powerful presence, and started to muster up her magic in case of a fight. She was met with a pleasant knock on her door. The woman looked to her patient before walking over to the door and opening it. The first thing Naruto noticed was the pink hair. It reminded him a lot of Sakura, and she was a healer also. The redhead, knowing that using his negative emotion sensing, he could tell she meant no harm to the guild master laying in her bed. He even felt some affection between the two. Hello? Naruto said. Why are you here, human? Naruto looked interested. Are you not fully human also? She furrowed her eyebrows. Excuse me? Naruto held out his palm. I'm a fairy tale member. That old pervert over there, he pointed to Makarov, is sleeping like a lazy bum while his guild are fighting a bunch of assholes. I'm gonna wake him up. Porliushia stared at him deeply in the eyes for what seemed like an eternity, before stepping aside and letting him walk in. How are you going to help? She asked. I did all I can with my resources, and all he needs is time. Naruto pulled a chair up and sat down next to the guild master's bed. All I need is you to be silent and still while I work my magic. He smirked at the joke, literally. He put his hand on Makarov's head and started to channel nature energy into himself. He took the chakra and stored it into his own body, and took the ether nano and stored it in Makarov, replenishing the wizard saint's magic. After a few minutes he stood up, his mind calm from activating senjutsu. I don't know how the old man was drained of most of his magic, but I fixed it. He'll be up soon. May I ask how? Porliushia shook her head. Actually, I don't care. Who exactly are you? Naruto started his way to the door. I'm Naruto Namikaze, a glorified badass, author, and a member of Fairy Tail. Oh, and I'm the Red Devil, and before you ask, yes, I do know Zirif. Porliushia stared. Okay, then now leave. Her look turned into a glare. Get the hell away from my home. Hey Naruto. Kurama said as the redhead activated his takeover magic. Hi Kurama. What do you think about attacking a powerful guild and ruthlessly beating every single person in it? There was silence for a few seconds before a deep chuckle came from the fox. Oh, I think that is a very enjoyable thing that I would very much like to be a part of if it ever happened. Good. Because it just happens that. Don't lose ground. Kana yelled as she threw multiple cards towards the army of shades. The number of dark soldiers was amazing, and her and the other members of Fairy Tail were slowly being pushed back by the dark army. Storm release! A voice cried, Laser Circus. Multiple beams of what seemed like light shot out of into the horde of shades, making them vanish as they were hit. In just a few seconds a large amount of shades were gone. Kana turned. Naruto. The redhead jumped into the battleground, a red coat with black flames adorning him. Hello Kana. He said as he looked around. Quite the party has gone down without me. This guild sure is interesting. Shit is going down. The drunk yelled as she threw more cards into the mass of shadows. Naruto started to go through hand seals. His Sharingan span with what seemed like glee. Great fire annihilation. A torrent of flame came rocketing out of his mouth, the sheer size even larger than the Fairy Tail Guild building as it got larger and larger. Where is Mirajane and some of the others? Naruto asked as he looked at Kana. Kana stared in shock at the pure destruction of the redhead's technique before trying to gain her composure. She took a breath to calm herself. They invaded the Phantom Lord building. To try and end this before that she pointed to the giant half-filled circle outside of the fortress. Fires. Naruto nodded as he created 2 clones. You two stay here. Nobody dies, got it. The 2 copies gave a mock salute as they jumped off into battle. Naruto turned to his guild mate. I'm gonna go and beat these Phantom Lord assholes within an inch, or their lives. Have fun without me. Kana nodded mutely as he jumped off. The redhead used his wind chakra to fly as he roughly shot towards the enemy guild. They tried to destroy Fairy Tail, the dream of Mavis, and was also, deep down, formed by the dreams of both himself and Zeref. A place for to belong, the ultimate fantasy for Zeref. A place where the adventure never ends, the fantasy of Naruto. And Jose Porla tried to end that. Naruto will show him exactly what dream will be ended. The dream of that asshole ever walking past this day. Who are you? Naruto growled as he lifted a young man up by the collar. He had found the man just laying there when he entered the fortress, conveniently defeated and placed where he could question him. The man with both black and white hair groaned, Totamaru, one of the Element Four. Naruto bared his fangs at his affiliation. Okay, you ugly-haired freak. Tell me what the hell is that thing outside of this place is? What? Totamaru said with fear at the sight of the redhead. The magic thing being filled outside of here. W what? The floating golden circle outside. W what? English motherfucker. Do you speak it? Why yes. Then what is the giant fucking circle? WWW what? Say what again? Naruto yelled in his face. Say it again. His eyes span threateningly. I dare you. I double dare you. If you say what one more damn time. Totamaru shook with terror. WW hat? Naruto saw the katana on Totamaru's waist and pulled the blade out, stabbing him in the shoulder. Totamaru cried out in pain as Naruto twisted the blade around for a few seconds. You fucking said what? Naruto let out an angry breath. Now tell me what is the big fucking circle. It's Abyss Break. Totamaru yelled desperately. It's Abyss Break, an attack much stronger than Jupiter. It needs all of the Element 4 to power it, and will wipe out all of Magnolia once it fills. Good. Naruto dropped him. Luckily I'm in a transitional period of my life so I won't kill you. A giant rock suddenly slammed into the back of his head, though if that's one of your allies then I might reconsider. Soul and Oo. Totamaru yelled. Naruto turned to the Earth member of the quartet. Soul, huh? Doesn't that mean sun or something? Are you the fire one? Non-Monsieur Naruto. I, Monsieur Soul, is the Earth member. And the one who will beat you. He knew his name. Naruto cracked his knuckles. You really pissed me off with that rock. I am going to break both of those skinny legs. You're rather aggressive. Naruto easily swatted away a boulder. I almost got my ass beat by a smoked dragon slayer. I need to redeem my badass card. Totamaru seemed to think the redhead was talking to him. What? Naruto whipped around at the word. His eyes blazing with anger, he picked up Totamaru's weapon back off the ground and stabbed him in the other shoulder, drawing another cry of pain. You bitch! The redhead yelled in fury. Non. Soul yelled, not to Monsieur Totamaru. He only said what? I hate that word now. Naruto yelled back. Now come here, you beady-eyed bastard. He lunged at the phantom member, but Soul sunk into the ground to avoid it. Naruto rolled his eyes as he felt Soul try to sneak up behind him. The redhead whipped around and grabbed the earth magic user by the neck. W what? Soul said in shock, only to receive a punch in the face. Do not say fucking what. Sorry. Naruto squeezed his neck. All of you idiotic ground swimmers always attack from behind. That is the most cliché thing ever. Literally it's so predictable what you are about to do, it pains me. Soul tried to call up some earth to help him but the blonde punched him in the stomach painfully. Sorry. Soul pleaded, please forgive me Naruto-sama. Naruto's eyes widened. Sama. You speak Japanese. Soul nodded rapidly, and Naruto released him. The Element 4 member coughed on the ground. You're lucky. Naruto stated as he wiped a small bead of Totamaru's blood off his hand. It's been a while since I've seen a person speak that language. I thought it was lost to the world. Actually only Kurama spoke the language here. It is lost but I have been trying to uncover it. Soul suddenly froze from his spot on the ground. You speak it. Naruto glared slightly at Totamaru. You two are very lucky. I don't really want to kill, and Mr. Monocle over here just gained 50 cool points. So you'll live. He looked at Soul, and yes, it is my native language. How? Kurama read Naruto's mind. You're not going to really do that, are you? Naruto ignored the fox. Oklahoma. How about this? I teach you the language and go on my way to find my allies while you take your friend and leave. And not attack or try to stop me or Fairy Tail. Soul nodded rapidly. Yes, Naruto-sama. Please. Naruto considered himself not in sage mode, but saint mode for his actions. He grabbed the sides of Soul's head and used Nishu, the power created by the Rikudo Sannin, so all could understand each other. After a few moments he released his hands and Soul fell. Oh my goodness. Soul spoke in Japanese, the knowledge flooding my head. Amazing. You're welcome. Naruto said as he crossed his arms. Now take your friend and leave. Soul nodded and helped Totamaru up, the latter leaning on him for balance. As they walked away, Naruto called to them. Hey. My guild mates are here. Why were you not fighting them? They might be at your master by now. Soul looked back, looking a bit sheepish. We were both defeated by Fairy Tail mages. I was going to find Totamaru so we could link back up with Abyss Break. He changed his language, not anymore though. Naruto turned around and started to make his way through the Phantom Lord hallway. That was very nice of you. Kurama noted. It proves that you are not completely evil, just, it felt nice. Naruto said with a small smile, to give someone purpose and a new direction in life. His smile dropped into a frown. That guy who kept saying what though I almost used Tsukuyami on him. 3 days of torture, he deserved it. The fox laughed. That was hilarious. The look on your face. Naruto slowly walked towards the door. He could hear the faint sounds of battle on the other side. He paused for a moment as he grabbed the doorknob, trying to make out any sign of what exactly was happening before he threw himself into it. He heard the cry of Zetsu, and his mode froze for a moment before he threw the doors open. He couldn't believe it. No way. No, it wasn't Black Zetsu or White Zetsu. Those bastards died a long time ago. It wasn't the huge man with a hat and blindfold. It was the hair of the woman in front of him. Red hair. Well, I'll be damned. Kurama said, a bit astounded. That is definitely a shade of Uzumaki red. A bit like Mito actually. Naruto's body moved on its own. Hello? He said with glee as he grabbed the female redhead by the shoulders and faced her towards him. How are you, miss? He grabbed her hand and started to shake it rapidly. I am Namikaze Naruto. But as you can see by my hair, I am an Uzumaki also. Naruto, this is another dimension. The fox's words went lost. Naruto was giving the girl a bright smile. Excuse me? Oh, my Miss Uzumaki. I'm sorry for being so eccentric. He stepped back and gave a mock bow. A fellow Uzumaki at your service. Wait, the girl's brown eyes narrowed. You're the one who dropped my cake. Naruto gasped. I knocked you down. Oh, I am very sorry, Miss Uzumaki. She shook her head. No. I am Urza. And I'm not any Uzumaki. She yelped as he grabbed her hair, and started to stroke it, and closely examine it. Course somewhat rough, yes. It's just like my mother's. And a bit like mine. You have to be an Uzumaki. The entire idea of dimensional travel was completely out of Naruto's mind. Urza was lost for words. Oh my, a family reunion in the middle of battle, how sorrowful. The man with the blindfold said with tears streaking down his face. Naruto turned to him. Who are you? He does not know my name? How sorrowful. I am Arya, leader of the Elemental Four. Naruto nodded before turning back to Urza. I cannot believe that there is another Yuza. He stopped, finally comprehending the other man's words. Well shit. He turned to the man angrily. I was having a reunion with a fellow family member. Stop ruining it. But you barged into our battle. I am being blamed? How sorrowful. Urza's cry of what do you mean family went unheard. Well, dear little Urza-chan. He got confused looks at the suffix. Oops. Old habits re-emerging. He rubbed the back of his neck. Anyways, you go and do whatever you need to do. I heard this guy is wind-oriented and that's right up my alley. Urza was off for the entire conversation, so she merely grunted as Naruto ushered her off into another door, unknowingly sending her off to Jose. Arya shrugged at the departure of Urza. My fight was prematurely ended. How sorrowful. Naruto cut him off. I think I get it. His cheery attitude was gone. I do not know of you. Soul said there were rumors of the yellow flash being in Fairy Tail. He looked up and down Naruto's body. But you are not yellow. Naruto shrugged. He tried to gesture to something, but ended up waving his hands around. It's complicated. But yes, I am the yellow flash, but I am not very yellow at the moment. Maybe with some Susanoo action he could be. No way. Kurama butted in. You are using me while I'm here. No zombie shit, no Uchiha shit. Arya got into a more battle-like position, while Naruto's eyes became slitted and his pupils turned a different red than the Sharingan. Too bad Arya was blindfolded. He was unable to see the feral look the redhead now sported. Be careful, he has a blindfold on, yet he noticed you aren't blonde. Possible Dijutsu. Setsu. Arya cried. Naruto jumped back as he felt a large string of invisible explosions. Naruto smirked, compressing the air enough to create a vacuum, which snaps the air back into place faster than the speed of sound. Impressive. Arya looked a bit surprised. You could see that? I'd like to say I'm an expert in air properties and attacks. It was his primary element. I'm fighting an air expert? How sorrowful. Naruto licked his lips, a slightly bloodthirsty look on his face. My turn. Wind started to slowly blow. I'll show you compression. Wind release, pressure damage. The air was pulled towards the redhead. And Arya could feel the pressure build up at the epicenter, his foe. In a split second the entire room was exploded by a tornado. The floor and ceiling started to be torn away by the pure power of the wind. It kept going for half a minute before it ended. You avoided it. Naruto said plainly, no reason to keep it up. The air rippled as Arya reappeared. I can turn into air, but how did you know? You told me. Besides, when you turn into air molecules you push the ones around you away to make space. I could feel the shift of the air right before my technique went off. I told the enemy one of my trumps? How sorrowful. Arya started to cry, a waterfall of tears streaming from underneath his blindfold. In his fake crying he barely managed to bring up a shield of air as a grand fireball impacted him. His air shield only amplifying the ball of flames. Naruto smirked at the burning hole in the wall. It faded as he saw Arya floating there. That bastard could fly. Smoothly. The redhead groaned. Was he the only who could only fly like a brain-damaged bird? Well, tear his legs off, so that's one less person to show you up. Naruto wasn't going to comply to the sadistic suggestion. But he was rather tempted. He gathered his own wind chakra and shot out of the room barreling past Arya, who just managed to dodge. The redhead flipped so his head was facing the fortress and shot towards it with another blast of wind, him not being able to stop, hover, or control himself at all. He released any power propelling him and flipped onto the outside wall. Well then, Arya spoke slowly as his blindfold fell off. It seems like you really did destroy Magtalk. Naruto stared at the pink eyes with a very unique pattern. That is some very cool looking eyes. His eyes suddenly morphed into a light purple. His Rinnegan, what do you think about these? Arya didn't comment on the eyes. Zero. He yelled as a torrent of airspace surrounded him. He fired a flurry of smaller airspace attacks towards the redhead. Naruto jumped into the sky, the attacks hitting the wall and blowing holes in them. Shinra Tensei. Naruto blew himself back onto the wall, not trusting himself to fly. Bansho Tenin. Arya felt an invisible force grip his body and pull it towards the redhead, but before it hit he disappeared into the air. Naruto smirked at the fact that the Deva path of the Rinnegan was practically useless against this opponent. Arya appeared high above him. Setsu Barrage. Naruto reveled in the feeling of his blood rushing at the sight of the giant wave of destruction. He used Kurama's chakra tails to push him off the building, before channeling the animal path to summon the drill bird, a bird with a drill beak. He flew on the bird, dodging the Zetsu before the Azura path to augment his arm into the cannon zombie Nagato used on B long ago. He fired a turret of energy beams, which Arya dodged by turning into air. Right as he reappeared he was slammed into by the drill beak of the bird. He let out a scream of pain as he felt his body being torn apart. But he managed to use a Zetsu to destroy the bird. The Phantom Mage grabbed Naruto as he fell, his body glowing gold. Metsu. He felt his airspace drain all of Naruto's magic and smirked as the redhead fell. Then a chakra tail grabbed him by the ankle. He screamed as his flesh was melted away and looked down. Naruto had the most smug, shit-eating grin that has ever been made. Arya fell helplessly with the redhead. Water release. Naruto yelled as he approached the ocean, his body exploding with red energy, typhoon bomb, and with that the entire ocean exploded. The giant explosion of water destroyed one of the giant mechanical legs of the Phantom Lord Fortress. The other one on the right side was slowly crumbling apart, the giant building slowly starting to tip. Naruto looked up from his position standing on the water and noticed Natsu fighting. You know what? Maybe I should help Yendi out. He groaned. I mean help Natsu out. Anyways, how much time do we have left? Well, your magic was completely drained by that Arya dude, so I was using the magic I started developing to sustain the takeover. So we have about 10 seconds. That's a lot of time for what we're about to do. Hook me up, Kurama. Naruto smirked as the power of 8 tails of chakra flooded him. He chuckled as a sphere of energy started to rotate in his palm. Hey Natsu! He yelled with chakra enhancing his voice. The pink-haired man groaned as he was thrown to the side by the dragon slayer he was fighting. He looked down to see the new guy standing on the water. The Rasengan turned pitch black as the edges started to emit a bright fire. This was one hell of a technique you made, Erosenin, he said, the water around him starting to evaporate from the pure heat the miniature sun emitted. Great flame Rasengan. He threw the thing like a baseball, the air rippling as it rocketed through the air. Natsu jumped in the air and it went shooting into his mouth, the momentum making him flip backwards as he swallowed it. Naruto's smirk increased as he saw Natsu's form explode into flames. He stood on the water peacefully for a few minutes, watching Natsu dominate his opponent, before looking up and seeing the entire sky be lit gold. Oh shit! Was the only words as Fairy Law set off. Makarov stared as Jose's utterly defeated form fell to the floor. Good job, old man. A voice spoke. Makarov turned. Naruto, you did good. The old man complimented the even older, yet younger, mage. Naruto stared at Jose. I feel kinda glad. Because we beat Phantom Lord? No. Naruto looked back to the guild master and smiled because Fairy Law attacks all who the user deems the enemy. And it did nothing to me. Makarov smirked as he walked towards the edge of the falling guild building. No matter who you are or what you done, a fairy tale mage is a fairy tale mage. It is a place where you will always be trusted and among family. Yeah. Naruto stared at Magnolia along with Makarov. Yeah, he stumbled slightly. Maybe we should get off this thing. I may have broken it. Can you go get Natsu and Lucy? I think that they're the only ones still on. Maybe the other Dragon Slayer is there also. Naruto created a clone. He'll take you back while I get the others. He felt the shadow clones he left with the rest of the guild vanish, and the memories they gained flood him. The guild really wants to party, so we better hurry. Makarov chuckled at the thought as he disappeared in a flash. Good job, Mystigan. Naruto said even though he was alone. Mist started to spiral until Mystigan appeared behind him. All of Phantom Lord's branches, outposts, even signs are all gone. That's why I said good job. Because you don't fail. Naruto walked past Mystigan into a stairwell. Let's go get Natsu and anyone else. Then we can go drink and you can tell me who you like. Naruto smirked at the prince's groan. Of course, he remembered. The party had already started when they arrived, the S-rank duo taking their time to get to the party in the only remaining part of the guild, the basement. And here he is. Makarov yelled as raised his cup, the castle destroyer. He was met with cheers. It took him a few moments to notice the other man standing next to Naruto, a sign he was completely wasted. Oh. And Mystigan is here as well. Everybody, despite being all mostly drunk, turned and gave the prince something he hated, attention. Mystigan. Fight me! Natsu charged at the concealed mage, his body still buzzing from the great flame Rasengan. Mystigan turned into mist and Natsu crashed into gray, resulting in a fight. Naruto patted his partner on the back as he walked to get a drink. The redhead took some time to prepare the prince. His outfit didn't include the strange leg flares on his thighs, making him look 10 times less intimidating and more approachable. The shy attitude, however, was not able to be taken away in such a short time. Hey Jane! Can you get me and Misty some drinks? He asked excitedly to the bartender, before leaning forward and whispering in her ear deviously. Make sure Mystigan's is strong, really strong. The seemingly innocent Mary Jane gained a slightly devious expression of her own as she set off to get drinks. He noticed red hair other than his and smiled brightly. Urza. He didn't notice a dark look in Mary Jane's eyes as he ran off to her rival. Naruto grabbed a surprised Urza and dragged her to the bar. Mira, look. She's a relative of mine. Myra's dark look at Urza went away as her eyes widened. Really? That's amazing. No! Urza yelled. He's not. She looked up and down his body. I mean, he looks like men, but I'm a Scarlet, not an Uzumaki. Is that your real last name? No. Do you know your real last name? No. Well, I do. Uzumaki. Wait. It's... Naruto grabbed her before she could finish. It's fate. He stood up and held his cup high in the air. Hey everybody. He yelled to the guild. Urza here is my relative. He was met by a loud cheer of applause. See? Everyone else agrees. Of course it wasn't just the red hair. Mystigan talked to him about how everyone in Earthland had a counterpart in Idolas. And maybe it was the same between more than 2 dimensions. Natsu was a lot like him when he was young. Makarov was like Hiruzen, Gildarts like Jiraiya. Ans the resemblance between Mito Uzumaki and Urza was a bit startling. The looks in their brown eyes almost exactly similar, their faces were also closely related, but Urza looked a bit like a Nagato Mito mix. Don't worry Urza, there's the Uzumaki test. We'll prove it. What is it? She asked. 1. Do you have bright red hair? Yes. Do you have brown, violet, or red eyes? Yes. Do you have natural stamina and strength? Yes. Do you heal fast? I guess. Yes or no? Yes. Do you have strong convictions? I'd like to say I do. Either yes or no. Urza glared. Yes. Do you have an unhealthy obsession with the food? Urza thought about it. No, she did not sound convincing at all. Mary Jane, who was watching interested, jumped in. Yes, she does. She really does. She ignored the look she received. And finally Naruto took a deep breath. Are you one of the greatest, most badass, awesome motherfuckers to ever walk the earth? The answer was instant yes. Then you are an Uzumaki. He downed his drink. Hell yeah. Now give me another drink, will ya? Urza sighed as she realized she passed the test with flying colors. Can I have a drink also, Mary Jane? What if Neglected Naruto Immortal Wanderer Fairy Tale? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel. And leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.